There you go. Now you're live.
Good evening and welcome to the Bob and Tam show tonight. And somebody's running a little late, or would have been on a few seconds earlier. Somebody's playing around, watching the internet, watching TV and stuff.
And what were you doing?
I was just killing time, but I got out of here in plenty of time. Somebody else.
Well, the other day I was out here way before you.
So,
Can you hear me? Now whose phone's on? Mine. All right, you talk. Somebody's mic isn't on.
why? Check.
That's why I said you need to talk.
On.
So we're getting ready to leave soon, tomorrow morning. Head up to Vegas, and we're going to try to catch a plane. We'll see how that works on Tuesday morning. We hear a lot of stuff going on at the airports with all this going on. There's Janice. I think Janice is all of these. Yep, she says, hi, Bob and Tam. Ryder X is on. Just wanted to let you be the first to say hello. Hi, Janice. How are you? Talking to themselves. We're doing good. Of course, we're going to be down in Daytona. The temperatures are going to be chilly when we first get there. And it's going to be 90 degrees here while we're gone. So that's going to stink. But they say the weather's going to warm up down there. There we go. We will be in Daytona. I don't know if you were asking Janice or you were asking us. Said no. See what else I got here. Who else is on? Bob saying hi. Jumpin' Jack's on. Domain's son. I don't know. I can't see that. Domason. Hi. Who else is on? Hello, my friends. Happy to see you. Sturgis. Is that Beth? Yep, that's Beth. There was a ruckus up in Sturgis this weekend. There's Bob and Dee. They're on. I got anybody else on that I don't see yet? Oh, one more. And Jack leaves Tuesday too. Well, we'll see you down there. Are you driving or are you flying? We're flying. So we'll be down there Tuesday evening and actually in Daytona. So
we do have a little bit of a schedule that we'll talk about in a little bit about where we're at, what's going on. First thing we want to do is everybody always asks about a meet and greet. Well, ended up being there is going to be one on the first Saturday. And if you run into problems with anything we're talking about tonight, you'll be able to go on our Bob and Tam's Facebook page, and we'll put our list of things that we're tentatively going to try to hit. This meet and greet, we will be there. That's going to be the first Saturday from 9 in the morning to 11. It's going to be out at Cackleberry Campground out there over at Camp Easy Ride. They've got a couple other YouTubers are going to be there. They're going to be doing a live podcast from there. The biker guru. I don't think he really has a page.
I think he's got just a Facebook page.
So he's going to be there. There's a couple other YouTubers are going to be there too. So there's a chance to see. They're also giving out complimentary Bloody Marys. So hey, there you go. So anybody's invited. So if you want to come out and check us out, that'd be a place for sure. We'll be from 9 in the morning to 11 out there at Cackleberry over at Camp Easy Ride. It's free parking over there. You can either park over there, go across the street. If it gets not gonna be that crowded that night early in the morning, you can always go over to the Cabbage Patch. You can park over there too and walk over. They do both sides. So you don't have to pay to get in to see this. You'll probably have to park your bike and then walk over. Probably not gonna be able to ride your bike into the campground and go over there. You'll have to park over there in the front if you've never been there. A lot of people have been asking about Crazy Horse Campground about a week or so ago, maybe a week and a half ago, actually during the race. Before the NASCAR race, they had a fire over there on the highway. A little bit of the grass burned up at Crazy Horse Campground. There was a easy up that got some sparks got to it and burned it up. Other than that, there's a lot of other rumors going around. The cars burned up and everything else like that. We've talked to the owner or the person that takes in charge of it, but there was no cars that burned up. But it is fully open. You can come in, but they are requiring this year, they're not going to allow any campfires. This year in Florida is a really dry season. So there's a
Bad
lot of,
drought.
I noticed that when I was watching the NASCAR race the other day, that I couldn't believe how much of the grass was dead around the track. Only that front part was nice and green, which they were watering that. So yes, definitely they've got a drought, and so there is a fire hazard there. If you're coming and you're camping or something like that, bringing a tent, you can use like a Coleman stove, things like that. But I'm not sure if they're going to allow any butane fires on the ground. With those fire pits and stuff that you can bring in. I don't think they're going to allow any fires on the ground. So as long as it's above, it's on a table or on its own stand, you will be able to do that anywhere. Now this is all of Florida, so it doesn't really matter where you're staying at. There's a high hazard right now for fire condition in Florida. So just FYI. Temperatures are going to start warming up. When we get there, it's probably going to be about the coldest day. It's supposed to be that morning. It's going to be about 38, but we won't get there till like 3:30 in the afternoon. So it's supposed to be about 58 on the Tuesday when we get there. Each day is going to start warming up more. By the time we get into Friday and Saturday, we should be somewhere in the 70s. And you can't look any farther than that because stuff changes all the time. Originally,
Day by day.
about a week ago, they were telling us it was going to be 29 degrees on Tuesday. So it's already jumped 8 degrees, well, actually 9 degrees since they predicted that. So once again, you can't, people are, oh, it's going to rain. It's going to rain. It always rains in Florida. So that's
Almost
pretty
every
normal.
single day.
We're just hoping, which the way the weather is now, they're predicting 30%. That's a 70% chance it's not going to rain. But is there a chance it's going to sprinkle someplace or rain a little bit somewhere in Florida? Yeah, pretty much. If you've never been to Florida, you don't know what you're missing because they're very known for that. A 10 or 15-minute rain can happen. It could pour down for 30 minutes and then the sun comes out and you never see a cloud again. So it's happened like that. We've only had 1 year in the last 7 years that we've been going down there that we've had that 3 days of rain. It's kind of like Sturgis that time. We had those 3 days in Sturgis. Times that happens. At this point, we're not looking at that. Right now it's raining. They got some rain there today that came through, went through Orlando and got a little bit of Daytona. So it just kind of bends. Florida's a big state, so it could rain down in Tampa and never rain in Daytona. So looks like it's going to be really good weather. It may not get as warm as we'd like. The 80s would be great. But you got to remember that if you're not from the East Coast, that they have humidity. So when it's 75 degrees, it could end up feeling like 85. Yeah. So that could happen. Now, of course, riding your motorcycle, that's what it feels like, 75 or whatever. But, bring enough gear like us. She decided to bring a little heavier coat. We always wear 2 coats is what we normally do. We don't bring our leathers and all that stuff. I did bring my chaps, but I'm not bringing a leather coat or anything like that. We don't do that because it usually ends up being, it gets too hot. Leather is very hard to roll up and store it. So what we do is I have a neoprene Harley jacket that's supposed to be waterproof. I don't think it probably is waterproof, but it's pretty good. It holds the wind out of it. And then I've got a hoodie that I wear. I've got a dozen, which I'll be taking one of those along. So 2 of those up. I got my gloves. Oh, I was going to ask you if you brought the nylon too. Okay. So I have my gloves. I've got my boots. So I'll be fine. Tam will have her tennis shoes on. She's going to be riding on my bike. So there's kind of an idea. Tuesday, we don't have a whole lot to do other than our plane lands around 3:30. We figure by 4:30 by the time we pick up the car to drive over to Daytona. And some people might say, why do you fly into Orlando? Why don't you just fly into Daytona? It costs us anywhere at least $100 to $150 more from us to fly from Las Vegas to Daytona.
On Mason.
For $200 to $300, I can rent a car. That way we have a car and a motorcycle. That way, if it does rain, we can run around. Or we need to run to the store and get something or do something like that. Or just, you never know when you might need a car. And it was the same thing when we used to pull the trailer and had the bike in there. We always had the truck as a backup. Sometimes it's nice. If I had to go get some tea, we can only put about 2 gallons in the bike and use 4. And so that really comes in handy. So that's why we fly into Orlando. So we'll be there on Tuesday. Tuesday night, we'll be there. Wednesday, we are going to be meeting with the chief of police over there in Ormond Beach. Got a big old list of stuff. We're going to talk about handlebars. Going to talk about all this stuff. There's a lot of rumors going around, which if you guys watched the police video we had the other day, we talked about that. It showed me being arrested, being pulled over. Was one of the thumbnails I made, and I had a couple different ones. I never got pulled over. That's a AI video or AI thumbnail that made. Trying to something new to try to attract more attention. And but the idea is just like us. we've been doing this. Well, we've actually
Mike.
been going to motorcycle rallies probably for 5, 30. Not
time.
necessarily Daytona or Sturgis, but we've gone to a lot of them. We used to live in Illinois. I used to belong to the American Motorcycle Association, did a lot of functions with them and went on a lot of rides. And when had our hog group, we probably rode 100,000 miles with our hog group,
Hey,
5 years. And so we have never, well, I guess we did get pulled, but it wasn't us. He's going up the mountain, a big bear.
Oh, in
And
California.
I don't know why they pulled over the first bike, but they did. I don't remember what the reason was. But the funny thing was, we ride a lot of times with police officers. So ended up, we're all sitting back about 5 or 10 car lengths back. We're all waiting for him. So when he gets done, we all took off. And then when we met at the top of the hill, Big Bear, we were like, what happened? He says, oh, once I showed him my badge, he said, didn't worry. And then he asked, are the rest of those guys, are they cops too? And he said, yep, they're all cops. So
they just let us all go.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're just a redneck cop or not, but this was in California. It wasn't at a motorcycle rally. But we never got pulled over. So that's probably the only time I've ever seen something happen. But I mean, at a motorcycle rally, do I see people get pulled over? Yes. Have we ever been pulled over? No. So, and I got a lot of friends that never been pulled over. And some people say, like
Antonio.
Professional Monkey, he got pulled over, or really wasn't pulled over. I think he was traffic and the cop talked because he had pulled his sunglasses up. But I mean, he still didn't get a ticket. He got talked to. 99% of the time, that's what we hear. The Ormond police will tell us the same thing. And we've talked to Daytona in the past. Is a lot of times they do that when traffic starts getting heavy, they will pull somebody over.
Hey, Art.
And usually they try to find something they have to have a probable cause. So they pull you over. And the reason they do it is because they want to leave their lights on. Because if you're riding down the A1A or you're riding down the 1 and you see way up there, you see some police lights going on, what are you going to do? You're either going to be, if you were drunk, you're going to make a right-hand turn or left-hand turn and get the hell out of there and avoid the cop. Or if you're a normal person, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to make sure I got my glasses on. I got, everything's good. Let's not rev the bike up. Kind of go on by. And that's why they do it. Because that police car is going to sit there for at least 15 minutes, if not 30 minutes. So that's how long they stop. Because the idea is they're reminding everybody that's riding along there, we're here. We're a presence. Make sure you understand that. So that's just something that they've told us that. All the interviews we've had, they've also said that on some of our interviews. They've explained that to us too. So it's something that because I've seen that. Well, you also see the stage cars. They have a couple cars sitting out there on the highway. And they're not the only ones. We go through little towns out here on Route 66 and they got a little squad car and they got Barney 5 or something or some Coyote Odie or somebody sitting in the front seat.
Yeah, Wildy Coyote or skeleton. Some sort of mannequin in there. It makes you look, if you just glance, it's like, oh, somebody's in there, but not really.
And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's not nobody coming after anybody. But it makes you think. And that's what it's a lot of this
down.
It gives you that check that, okay, I want to check myself. Look at my speed limit. Look at this. Because it is easy. It's easy to be in the flow of traffic, or that light looks like it turned yellow and you open up the bike and cut through the light. Well, before you ever get your front tire over the line, it's already red. Well, you've written a light. And once again, we're all on vacation, right? Most of us aren't working down there. You got no place to be. If you really need to get down to Teddy Morris's and you're down on Main Street and the concert's starting in 15 minutes, you should have left an hour ago.
Yeah.
That's your fault. So it is what it is. Nobody's in that damn big a hurry when you go there because we're all there just to have a good time. Take a sociable ride, enjoy the scenery, see what's going on. But yes, we do have a lot of show-off people coming to Daytona. That's normal. Like a lot of people I've seen on Facebook, they're all complaining, oh, I got pulled over and the cops gave me a hassle and all this. And all I was doing was revving up my bike. And they did it right there in front of the Iron Horse. Are you that stupid that there's 20 cops sitting there? A lot of them are sitting on their motorcycles and you're going to go through there. That's the number one place that get more people pulled over is right there at the Iron Horse. Now, those cops are not a setup there. Iron Horse actually pays them to be there, but they're also on duty because they're in the uniform. If they see something that's wrong, they have to react. And the Iron Horse is okay with that because same thing. If there was somebody drunk you can't split lanes in Daytona. Well, actually, all of Florida. California is about the only state still allows you to split lane. What is splitting lanes? That's when the cars are stopped or they're going real slow and you go between the cars. You're really not in a lane. You can't pass on the shoulders. Those two and speeding are guaranteed tickets. And if your license is bad or you don't have insurance on your bike or they can't see your plate or they see anything else, you could end up in the pokey. So just FYI, once again, this isn't California. You can't split lanes in Florida. Remember that. Um, but
I all of a sudden it's like I'm looking and looking. There's no comments, and all of a sudden it's like there's like 50 of them.
slow to come in.
I don't know.
And so something else I'm going to talk about tonight is somebody put on Facebook today. There's a Senate bill that's going through in Florida. If I can pull up what number.
Everybody's just saying.
It's HB 429. It's a House bill right now. And what is this bill about? Well, some guy's putting it on the internet and he's saying all this stuff. It's about gang motorcyclists, okay, clubs that are gangs. What determines is a gang? There's a big old list that you can look through. You end up having to have mainly what this is for. If you read the whole Senate bill, because it tells you these things, even if I'm talking to a 1%er, could be one strike against me. And if I have a tattoo that looks like it could be from a 1% club tattoo, that could be a second strike, which means I could be arrested. Well, what they're doing with the Senate bill, which it's not even the guy's trying to say it's going to be out here in October. Well, once again, it's through the House and it's been rewritten. It was written in October, I think was the last time. And then it also got rewritten here in January 26th, I think it was. And so it's still going through, I forget what department it says. It went from the House bill and it went to like where they check and see if things are legal to do. And so it went to that department right now. What this is really for is if you're a 1%er and you do something really bad, let's say you rob a liquor store, or let's say you knife somebody, or let's say you shoot somebody, it's automatically, you could get the death sentence. That's how strict they're going to get with this. I'm not saying it's passed yet, but this one guy is trying to say that everybody, a Christian motorcycle group would be in this list and all this. No, it's not. What it's really, well, hopefully the Christian motorcycle guy isn't going out and causing
havoc.
Yeah, and not causing things to where he might get arrested along. So it's pretty much they're calling it gangs. So I don't know if that's what they consider that a 1%er.
I want to know what the number was again.
It is, you can look it up, HB 429.
This is just in Florida.
Yes, this is just a Senate bill that's going through Florida. So I ended up reading the whole darn thing. If you go to Florida and then you can go in, I got it open now.
There's Danny.
Committees, laws.
Thursday. We'll be there. We'll be there Tuesday.
Here's the bill text. That's what you bill text. And then it was rewritten twice. So it was it was filed in November 14th of 2025. It went to the House and they approved this one on 1/14 of this year. And if you pull it up.
Have it, Neil. Downloads?
Yeah, but I'll read it where it says a definition as needed in this chapter. A criminal gang member means a person who meets two or more of the following criteria. One, admits that he is that kind of person, is a gang member. He posted on a platform, social media, on a criminal gang member that he or she is one on media. So if you came on my channel and said, "Hey, I'm a gangbanger and I'm
HAH."
Well, you don't have to say what club you're in. You got to admit, because they're not telling you that if you belong to HA or if you were a Virago or whatever you might be, you would automatically be. Doesn't say that. Second one is if you admit to a person online or on a platform or social media that you are in a criminal gang, is identified or claims by a criminal gang as one of its members. So like if you were with a gang that did a crime, then you could be brought in. is identified as a criminal gang member by a parent or a guardian or a wife or a spouse, is identified as a criminal gang member by a documented, reliable informant, stool pigeon, attempts the style of dress of a criminal gang, adapts the use of a hand sign identification as used by a criminal gang, has a tattoo identified as used by a criminal gang. So we're stopping right there. I've got a couple more to read. But I mean, I don't know what they have to go into more of this to explain what a criminal gang is. Do you consider the HA? Do you consider what's the other group out there?
Sons of Silence.
No, the one that's at Willie's.
Outlaws.
Yeah, the Outlaws. Where do they consider this at? This could all came up from a couple years ago. There was a couple of the clubs that went out there by the racetrack out there in where's the Sons of Speeds at?
New Smyrna.
At the racetrack out there, that gas station, there was a big old brawl out there. There was some shooting being done and all that. Well, then when some of those I think one was the Outlaws, and I'm not sure who the other one was, when they came into town, there was a big stop that Daytona police stopped them on the bridge and gave them the riot act. Now, is that uncommon? No. They do it in Sturgis too. Sometimes what they do with a lot of one percenters, if they feel that they're going to do something, they like to say, stop them and say, we want to give you presents to let you know we're here. They're going to check them and see if any of them's got felonies. They're going to see if they've got guns, if they've been drinking. Is there anything in there that they can get them on? Or are they just going to give them like in Sturgis a couple years ago? I think it was 3 years ago. They stopped a whole bunch of them on Main Street. Everybody called us, and it ended up being I ended up finally getting to talk to the chief a year later, and he told me we were just checking them out. They were coming in town. They all had their guns hanging out. They were, just
trying to make a presence.
Yes. They looked like they were going to do something. That's what they felt. So what we did is we just did a check. And same thing. They all left. They were all,
They were trying to say, we're here. And the police went and put them in their place and said, no, we're here.
And most of the time you see this. We see it a lot where these one percenters are actually talking to the police officer, chatting with them and things like that. Now they're like, so
right on three.
That's my first thing is I don't know, because I know it's like us. We know the Sons of Silence really well, and we know one of the presidents real well. We went on one of the rides with them. If you've been watching our channel a couple years ago, we went out on a ride with them, and she won't ever go again. But I had a lot of fun on it, and so we ended up buying a sticker during their thing. Well, they ended up coming over me. The president did and said, "You can't have that sticker," and I'm like, "Why?" He says, "Because that's a club member's only. You can have this one, which says we support Sons of Silence. That's all I could have. I couldn't have the one that says Sons of Silence, and it was a really cool sticker because I'm not one of their members." So yes, you could have a tattoo on your body that is, it's kind of like Sonny's bike. When we seen that at the auction, there was some of the stickers that were taped over. Ended up that bike sold to a guy in California. But now if he takes the tape off those stickers, he runs into another HA, he's going to have a lot of problems. Unless he's really connected with the ones in California, like he's probably up by the redwoods and stuff. So if he's really connected with him, he might be all right, but he would never be able to take that bike into another state because that's a whole. So we'll look at a couple more things here. So if you had identifying tattoo by a criminal gang, you associate with one or more known criminal gang members. That's what this one guy said. Well, if you were talking to, so-and-so that belongs to 1%, that would automatically give you a strike. I don't think that's what it's saying. Is identified as a criminal gang member by an informant or previously untested, reliable. They've got re in front of it. Reliable. And such identification is corroborated by an independent information. I don't know. That seems like the same thing that I said a while ago. An informant could turn you in. Is identified as a criminal gang member for, but they're looking for a lot of people to stool over to get out of it. Has been observed in the company of one or more known criminal gang members 2 or more times. Observation in custodial setting required a willful association. It is the intent of the legislator to allow this criteria to be used to identify gang members who recruit and organize in jails, prisons, and other detention centers. So that whole thing was, if there was one in a jail and they're trying to recruit somebody, that guy could get in trouble too.
While you're in jail?
Yeah. As authorized by any communication indicating gang affiliation or gang activity or accepting responsibility for the commission of any crime by criminal gang member. So then it gets in farther. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's like 5 pages. But it really ends up saying that a lot of this means that they can go after you if they can prove you did something. Like, let's say one of those guys, girls, mostly guys, because guys are in centers, girls are. But here, I'm a one percenter. I'm not. But if I was a one percenter and we have a daughter at home and I take her and I get one of those Amber alerts because I took my daughter and I didn't have custody of her. We were divorced or whatever. Well, they could then take that and find out that you were a gang member, criminal gang member, and you could get a lot harder sentence than if Joe Blow did the same thing. So that's what I think this law is. We don't live in Florida. We have no control over this. If you live in Florida, you don't like what's going on, contact
Your congressman, councilman, city men.
and talk about it. To me, that's the first part I want to know is if I live there, or if I was one of the one percenters down there, or if I'm going to be a one percenter that's going to be going down there. I would like to know what they consider to be a criminal gang. I don't know. We have never had any trouble with any one percenters. With all the things we do know some other YouTubers that have been talked to and stuff about some of the stuff they shoot and stuff like that. But in our case, we talked to a lot. Well, I do know some HA presidents, and we also know the Sons of Silence presidents. So we've got some connections in their organizations to, if we have a problem, we can always call and stuff like that. But I've never had that problem. So I'm not looking for that problem. But we try to respect them, they respect us, and we're all okay. That's really what it's all about. But I mean, I don't know. But I mean, it's kind of like like in Las Vegas here, we got the mob, and they still say the mob is still running a lot of stuff. I don't know, and I don't really care. It doesn't make any difference to me. But same thing to where these police departments and senators and government and all this, they're trying to take control of the stuff because you don't want some of this crazy stuff that's happening in New York and Chicago and LA and all this crazy stuff that's going on in all these other cities. You don't want, not saying that the one percenters are their gang. We shouldn't say they're one percenters because I don't know what they're indicating a gang member is, because you could be a bunch of guys and you go rob a store and you're a gang because that's what you are. So I don't know.
Or if it's some of the gangs like out in California that are the Crips and the Bloods and all that.
You got Black Lives Matter. That's a gang, because they do violence and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different groups out here. Antifa, that's a gang. So is that what they consider, people that are actually doing
Y'all are our gang.
Yeah. The Bob and Tam gang. So I don't know.
Is that like the Apple Dumpling gang?
Someone may not know that. I may not be that old. So I don't know. That would be, he brought this up today, and it came up on a Facebook page, and he was trying to pretty much tell everybody that you ought to be scared, and this is all going to happen in Florida. I don't know if this guy was a one percenter, and that's why he was writing all this. But I wrote back and I said, I read all that, and I don't see that if I stop and talk to an HA or an outlaw or whoever, Sons of Silence, that I'm going to be put on a list. And which I did. The more I read into that, it looks like if you were somebody that being talked to be a recruitment for one, like in jail, that could definitely become a problem. Because one, they're seeing that you're becoming a one percenter. And that's why you see a lot more of the bars and stuff, not as much in Daytona as we see in Sturgis and a lot of these other rallies. They're making people not allowed to wear their cuts or colors anymore. Because what ends up happening,
then you would know they were with a 1% club, and if they started talking to you about join, hey, why don't you come over to our clubhouse?
Well, we've been talked to about starting our own club, our own 1% club. But after I ended up talking to the president, and I said, no. I just wanted to know how it worked. I didn't want to be a club. I want to know how the policy works, because I didn't know anything about one percenters, nothing. And there's a lot of people come out here and they say stupid stuff about one percenters, and they know nothing about it. And we get it a lot of times. I actually sometimes have a president that's actually in here, which we won't tell you what his regular name is. But he'll write me back he'll text me after it's over, and he'll go, you were right on calm. You talked just like you were supposed to. You did a great job. Thank you. Like, if you remember just a while back, we were talking about one percenters and about something. And he recommended, that's what he said. He complimented me and said, you were right on. Told the truth. You did what you heard, and that's fine. And that's what we try to do with everything we do, is because we want to give you the best information, because there's a lot of people out here saying stupid stuff about everything. That's a whole nother story. So.
The Freedom Bar in building in Sturgis is now allowing patches.
Which one?
The Freedom Bar, the one that Leslie was going to come down
that's
to.
Outside. So they do, the Vets Club does, and also they used to do, which I think they still do it at Side Hacks. Those are the three that have done pretty much. Well, that's two. Side Hacks and the Vet Club has always allowed them. That new bar down there, it's outside. So yeah. What ended up happening, and we were told this by one of the bars in Sturgis, and I won't say what happened. I'll tell you what happened, but I won't tell you what bar, and I won't tell you who told me this. It's actually somebody that's a one percenter. So what ended up happening is this group came in. It was a lot of prospects that came in, and probably about 10 or 15 of them showed up in the bar. Well, they went up to the bar where there was a bunch of people sitting at, and two of the guys, one percenters, grabbed the stools and yanked them out from underneath the people and said, "You're on our stools." Well, of course, what ended up pretty much happening is the bar cleared out and everybody left. Well, the way it used to work in Sturgis was we used to have the Hells Angels really aren't there anymore. That little house they have, they're just there during the rally and that's it. Well, they used to have a campground and they own that's up there on the hill. Sons of Silence is still there. They're the only two that were on property. Well, the Hells Angels really aren't in there anymore. They just come to visit during the rally. And so it used to be that if there was a problem in a bar, you could call the clubhouse and the sergeant of arms and his posse came over, got the guys, drug them outside, and took care of them for screwing around. Well, it ended up happening, they quit doing that. They would call the clubhouse, nobody come. Well, of course, they call the police now. The police come in and say, "Here's the deal. You're allowing them in the door. You got to get them out here on the curb. We'll arrest them. We're not going in your business and getting them because you've invited them in." So that's how it started to where you see these patches now, clubs that aren't being allowed to come in. It's because things like that, one person screws, just like I always say, all it takes is a good shooting at one of these rallies and that kills it. Laughlin, Nevada was a typical example of one. Two clubs, nobody else got hurt, but it was enough for them to say, "Let's calm this down. Let's bring in an army of police officers to riot." And within 10 or 15, I guess 2019 was the last one. But the last 5 years of it sucked. And it kept getting smaller and smaller. And the shooting was, I think, 2001, I think was a shooting one. And from that moment on, it started dwindling down.
Yeah, because the first few years we came out, it was even after the shooting. But I mean, they still had a ton of stuff. Like there's a casino out here called the Avi, and they had all the stuff. Boss Hoss used to come out there. It was full of vendors. The place was packed.
Every casino was full. At the end, we got down to 2 casinos had vendors, and that's it.
And then they were just bracelets and lawn chairs and
recliners.
Yeah.
And so,
mattresses.
And then 2020, once the pandemic came, then that's when they decided. Now, Las Vegas is trying to have one again, but what ends up happening is they ended up being that motorcycle people don't gamble enough. So you're not bringing in the money that the city really wants to see. They could care less that you're riding a motorcycle. You're not buying that much gas. Maybe you got a hotel room, but so does a million other people in town. And so if you don't gamble that much, most of these people that they give free comps to and free rooms and stuff dump thousands of dollars. She's got a friend that will dump $2,000 or $3,000 or even $5,000 in a weekend.
At least.
That's why she's broke. And but that's another story for another day. But that's one of the things that you've got to look at. And I see that a lot of times when we look at, because it's like Daytona. Daytona, there's a lot, what happens with cities there's a lot of people that yippity about doing motorcycle rallies. They're gang members. They're bad people. They don't realize that there's doctors and lawyers and, all kinds of professional people that ride motorcycles today. It's not like we were in the 60s. So the difference now is you see where these towns, just like you might say Biketoberfest, why don't they have it any longer? Well, that's why. Daytona will not, the city will not allow any more days. That's why Teddy Morris has been trying to start that 3-wheel rally, which is not an approved event. That has never been approved by Ormond Beach, but he's trying to tack that on to make it a week-long rally.
10-day rally.
Yeah, but in Daytona, no. But that's the idea. They Sturgis is that way. Sturgis really wants half the board that sits on the commission wants a 7-day rally. They want to get rid of the 10-day rally. They're okay with having a rally, but let's make it as short as possible and get these people the hell out of our town. Even though we're the ones that spend all the money and make Sturgis all the money they have because they have nothing else bringing in money other than people paying property tax. Not enough businesses in that town. That town is dead. If you go down to Sturgis right now, you couldn't, probably might be some snow on the ground today. But if you go down there about a couple months before the rally, you can actually see the tumbleweed rolling down Main Street. And they blame it on motorcycles. They blame it on the city, the management, and things like this. What they did is they're like any other small town. We used to live in a big town that had about 75,000 people, and our Main Street died. Why? Because we had Woolworths on there, we had Kresge's, and we had Glicks, and all these big stores, Monkey Wars,
Ben, Five and Dime.
that went out of business. Well, Sturgis was the same way. They had all these old time stores that were down there. And I've got pictures of that because I go back and I look for things like that. So when those businesses left, nobody went in and tried to bring something back. But, they try to compare themselves to Spearfish and say, well, look what Deadwood does. Look what Deadwood does. Well, there's gambling there. If Deadwood didn't have the gambling, it would be dead. It would be like going to Tombstone in Arizona. It would be a tourist thing to look at, and that would be it. But because they have the gambling to where Sturgis doesn't have that. Sturgis doesn't have anything to offer people why I want to pull off the highway in Sturgis. You're traveling across the United States with your kids in the car, and you're heading to Mount Rushmore, and you came from California or Wyoming or any of those states you're coming
And if you
across.
didn't own a motorcycle and you had no idea what Sturgis was.
Well, once again, there'd be no reason to pull over. There's not even really, it used to be a truck stop or at the first exit, which is that 30?
30.
At 30 exit there, when you first came off the highway where Dairy Queen and what's
Came
the
out.
pizza ranch?
The ranch, yeah.
Yeah, is there. That used to be a truck stop. That was their first mistake of not giving money to help that truck stop stay in business. Because then you would have had money coming in year round, plus you had all the semis coming off. Now they wait till they get to Rapid City, and they got all the truck stops out there that they can stop at the Loves and whatever the other big one that's out there. So they lost that. But when you look at these cities like Daytona, Daytona is dead. If it wasn't for the motorcycle rally and having
500.
having the Daytona 500 there, there'd be
Oh,
nobody
pretty
there.
cool.
We've been down there on Main Street or down there on the US 1 weeks before the rally started. And the only people there are
Bums.
she had me kick a guy
Homeless.
one time because we seen him there for 2 weeks laying in the same.
Well, no, it was
doorway.
like 2 or 3 days. I don't know what, we kept walking the same stretch. And the guy was laying in there in the same position. I said, you need to kick him or something and make sure he's alive. Well, because he was in the same position in the same spot for like 3 days in a row. But
So that's what I say. It's not the big tourist area that it used to be in the 70s and the 80s. One, a lot of these little beach towns now got rid of spring breaks because they figured out that they ain't making any money on that either. When you start looking at this stuff, a lot of people still go to Miami. A lot of people go to Fort Lauderdale. Panama City actually has a really good thing. But what Panama City did is they took most of their hotels and they turned them into condo. They bought them. So that way they had, even if there's nobody there, they're still making money because people are paying their dues and all the fees they're paying and all that stuff. That's all being cycled through. So they make money when there's nothing there. These other hotels that sit down there in Daytona, when there's nothing going on, there ain't nobody coming in their hotels. Finally, there's a few of them. I think they ended up getting condemned, but there's like 4 of them there that they're remodeling, or a couple of them they tore down and they're building them back up. There's still some of the hotels that have been there since the 60s, and they ain't done nothing to them. Same old dump they were.
might not have been a dump in the 60s.
Well, probably not when it was new, but it's been a dump for probably as long as most of these people have been going to the rally. So it's hard to, and I hear a lot of complaints about that different stuff, but it's not really, Daytona really isn't set up to be a motorcycle town. It's like Myrtle Beach. Not really set up because it's also got all the other things that go on. Sturgis is which is what I always say, Sturgis is probably one of the only motorcycle rallies that was really designed to be a motorcycle rally town, because really that's, we don't get all the tourist people coming to Sturgis. You get people that are looky-loos during the rally. They might hear about it and they want to drive through with their car or something and show their kids. They might want to walk down Main Street. But in Daytona, half the people, or 3/4 of the people that are on Main Street walking up and down, are tourists. We see people with kids, strollers, dogs, walking up and down Main Street. And it's like they have no idea. Well, some of them could be foreigners and they're like, what's going on? Let's see what's going on.
Or they could be locals, and it's like going to the picnic, oh, Bike week's here. Let's go down to Main Street. And they grab all their 6 kids and run down to Main Street and walk up and down it. And it's
And it's
like,
very possible. So it's not necessarily all bikers. Now, when you get to Sturgis, you see more local people that might come down, but normally that's like the last weekend we see more of that. We don't really see a lot of strollers and stuff like that being pushed around the first weekend. But Sturgis does have a lot of people that have kids and stuff like that, to where a lot of them are there before the rally. You'll see them. They do something every Wednesday during the summer. They have a big thing. They bring jumpy bands and all that stuff. It's all free for the local people. Free for anybody. If you're there, we go to it, and it's free during that time.
and they have food trucks and all
You know,
kinds of stuff. So,
And so it's pretty cool. And they have it right there at Harley Square and the bar
Knuckle.
Knuckles
Oh, well, the Knuckles on
that's
the end of
across
the
from
street
hotel.
is the Oasis.
The Oasis bar. They normally are the ones selling the beer out in the street. They always get the permit because it's right outside their door. And so they've always got the beer that they're selling out there on the street and stuff. You can have a beer. You don't have to buy a special cup or nothing during that time. So there you go. Some of the different things. And you look
Writing
at-
on 3 in Tennessee says it's sad that the majority of these cities want the money, but they don't want the people there that bring the money in.
most of the time, what the problem is, they don't realize who's bringing the money in. Now, one of the things a lot of the locals complain about in Sturgis is that you get a lot of these vendors that come in, which is most of the vendors you're buying from, aren't leaving any money. They're paying their sales tax, and they bought a permit to be there. They might be renting a spot, but if they sold $500,000 worth of product, not one penny of that money of profit is being spent in Sturgis. They're taking that money back home, wherever they're from, and that's where they're going to pay. Most of the people they hire are the people they bring in. Now, there is some exceptions where a lot of the, it's just like all these girls that work the rallies. Most of them don't live in Sturgis. Most of them don't live in Daytona. Most of them don't live at the rally spots. So they're all being brought in. Same thing. They're not typically what you would want if you're a community is if I have a Walmart down here, I pay the people good enough money that I want them to spend their money in town, because that's what makes the cycle of life go around. That's what keeps the town alive. Now, we have the exception now because of Amazon. People are buying from Amazon, and that is Amazon outpace Walmart sales. And but it is, everybody wants convenience now. So that's some of the complaints that local people have. But then you also have, which is what we always talk about, is the people that, which we do all the time. We cut through neighborhoods all the time to avoid traffic lights, to avoid traffic, things like that. But we don't have, well, first of all, I don't have a stereo that you can hear 3 blocks away. But probably some of you may have that. And people think, well, I got a radio. I want to play it. I want to make it loud. Well, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning or even midnight, people that live in those neighborhoods might have to go to work tomorrow. Not like Sturgis, where a lot of the businesses close up. In Daytona, everybody stays open. There's not any business that closed down because Daytona Bike Week. So pretty much stays open. There might be a few things. I don't know if that barber shop on Main Street stays open, but that's kind of a different scenario versus like in Sturgis, the body shop there on Junction closes down. That's one that always puts the rope up and says you can't park in the parking lot. They close down. There's a handful of businesses that just lock their doors and say, our customers can't get to us. And the people that live in town aren't looking to go out and spend money anyway. They're going to hunker down. And some people do that. Like in Sturgis, there's a lot of older people that will buy their week's worth of groceries or 10 days worth of groceries and sit home and never leave their house, never open their front door. But once again, they don't need somebody driving down the street, rapping out your motorcycle or blowing your tunes in the middle of the night because people live there. I always say the same thing when we're at the campground. I always try, when the guy comes in at 3 o'clock in the morning, I always try to get up fast enough so I can see where he parked at. He's in a tent. Because I like to get there in the morning, about 7 o'clock when we get up. I like to pull right up to his tent and wrap my bike out as we pull out. Say, good morning. So if you hear that and you got a tent and you did that at 3 o'clock in the morning, it was probably me that did it to you. Because it's the payback is hell. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And sometimes, and that's why I said, it's why people do that. I don't know. There's no reason. If we're pulling in a campground or I'm pulling in a subdivision or even the hotel we're going to stay at, I'm not going to wrap my bike up when I pull into the spot. Or in the morning when I start my bike up, I'm not going to rev it up. Why? You're doing damage to your bike revving it up. You need to let it idle a little bit and warm up a little bit before you take off. But it's people say, I got to make sure my bike's running. That's the way I clean it out. You're stupid. You don't know what you're doing. You ride your bike normally, you don't need to be wrapping your bike out. And most people do it. Just like if we ride through a tunnel, you always rev your bike up, or under a bridge. People do that. And there it's different because you're not You might be irritating people in the cars, but you're normally not in a neighborhood, or you're not in somebody's backyard or front yard driving past. I mean, people should be more considerate. And that's what we do. I've always, as my every business I've ever owned, I always treat people like I wanted to be treated myself. So when we go someplace or talk to somebody, that's what I try to do. Some people get to be an ass about it, and that's a different story. But I start out trying to be decent with. And of course, when we're driving through neighborhoods and stuff, we're not wrapping the bike out. I'm not revving it up. My bike can get pretty loud. It's deep tone. It's not neighbor haters, but I don't need neighbor haters on my bike. In California, there
Our
was,
neighbors got him.
yeah,
I always say,
actually put
"Bring
him on our
home,"
car.
but I always know when he's home.
Yeah. Now, he revs his bike up in the morning when he leaves. But when I took that veteran bike back to, we
Up
left it
to-
on, we did it on Sunday. So I did that. I had to sit outside for quite a while because it was Evo motor. I had to let it warm up. So before I had it out, I ripped it up a little bit. But he had already came over the night before and looked at it. But he might have woke him up a little bit too and said, "Oh, I guess Bob's pulling out on his bike." And so yeah, but there we knew. But I mean, we do have other neighbors. We used to have a neighbor when she used to go to work. She used to ride her Sportster.
They used to put notes on the door. I would have to back my bike up, walk it down the street until I got to the other street to start it up.
And what do they own?
They
They owned a
bike-
Harley.
Oh, they had one too, I guess, but they didn't get up. I had to be at work at 6:00 in the morning, so I would leave around 5.
I mean, she didn't really rev the bike up. She just starts it up and pulls out. But then she had loud pipes on her bike. They weren't neighbor haters, but it wasn't like it rattled the neighborhood. She
Yeah.
probably started it in the garage and pulled out. So
Yep.
but you got to be considerate of it. And if you do all that, you really don't have any trouble. Plus, it's like people say, well, it's not like it was in the 50s and the 60s. Well, nothing's even like it was last year. Everything changes. This world is getting really, really, really bad. That's one of the reasons I like to do motorcycle rallies, because we see a lot of people. I don't really want to say we're like-minded, but we're usually mostly pretty easygoing. You don't really have, a lot of times we don't even hear anything that's going on. There's been shootings and stuff at these schools and stuff during rallies and stuff. We don't hear any of them. We're not watching the news. We're not
Yep.
interested in anything. I'm looking at my phone at weather reports, traffic reports, and that's it. Other than that, I could care less what's going on for those 10 or 15 days that we're at that rally coming. But there's things that happen, and I like that because it takes you away from all the garbage that's going on in here. The United States is a screwed up mess. And hopefully you don't live in New York City. I feel sorry for everybody there. I guess there's gonna be a tax on people shoveling your driveway. I don't know. They said there's gonna be a tax for walking your dog. But you gotta you gotta pick your poop up still. But hey, I'm paying a tax. Let them pick it up. Let the city do it. That's their job.
If you have a cat, it's okay, but no dog, you got to pay a tax on.
So I don't know. I'm not gonna get it. But I don't live there and I'm not really worried about it. But you don't know how much of that crap will eventually get across to you. You get out and vote. Thing to do.
Find out what's going on.
Yeah.
They said go to your schools, even if you don't have kids. Go to your school
meeting.
school board meetings.
See what they're telling these kids or what the school board's trying to do. Be surprised some of the crazy stuff.
Even if you just go to your city council meetings and find out, you're like, you're going to do what in our city? What it's about ready to be passed, and you're like, you snooze, you lose, right? And they all win.
And that's what happened with Sturgis is they were trying to get rid of, not really get rid of. So you've always been able to have a tent in the city. If I owned a house, I could put you in my front yard, charge you whatever I want, whatever you're willing to pay. Well, last year there was a rule in there, and it's been changed a bunch. But it used to be as long as you had your house since like 2012, you were a resident, that you could have tents in your yard. There was no limit or anything else. Ended up happening last year. There was a young couple that put tents in their yard, which I think they've done it a couple. Well, the person next door that doesn't even live in South Dakota, I don't know if they own the house, if they were renting the house or whatever, they complained to the city that they didn't fall underneath that. So when they came back, so the city last year before the rally was over said, we're going to sit down and try to set up an ordinance for it. Well, they came up and wrote this stupid, crazy thing up that the mayor, not the mayor, but the lawyer that the city is using right now needs to fire him for a guy that sat there.
You're going to say something else.
And but it's It's this guy came up with stuff that he just pulled out of his butt. He's trying to say that he's talked to the state, and you could tell in the last meeting that they had Tuesday, last Tuesday, that he had no idea. He's never talked to anybody at the freaking state yet, which I'm going to do that because I'm going to get a hold of um, the Buffalo Chip
Rod?
and talk to Woody, and find out who his contact is in the state. I'm going to call him up, and I'm going to bet I'll bet any money you want that that guy has not contacted the state. So they're trying to say it's a health issue, that the state's
That the
threatening
state's coming
that
down
that's
on
going to
them,
come
on the
in and
city.
they're going to make people to get permits to be a license to be a campground.
Because if you can have one on your property. Any more than one is considered a campground.
And so by the way he was talking, because people were asking questions, and we're watching it all. Go back and watch it. And one is it's always been this way, and it's what it should have been is the city, because that's what they said. They want to. They probably want to charge them for permits now. So these people, what happens in Sturgis is they keep raising their property tax too. So there's, in South Dakota is not a big high paying place. Don't make a lot of money working in Sturgis other than rally time. So that a lot of these businesses and stuff would not survive if it wasn't for Sturgis having a motorcycle route. So what these people do is they've been renting out their houses. Some people rent their house out, and we knew a guy that actually used to, not so much now, used to pay 6 months of his house payment by renting his house out 10 days of the rally. And so these people make up for that. They can, and most of the time they never taxed them on that money. They just because one, you don't have any state tax in South Dakota. So they never put it on their federal tax. And so nobody ever called them on any of it. So these people would take that money and that would pay their property tax for next year, or maybe they need to put a new air conditioner in their house or whatever. That's where they got this extra money from. This has been going on there's a couple people there that their parents did it and their grandparents did it before that. So it's been going on for 40, 50 years that this house has been using as tents. And so the point of it all is the city came in with this lawyer and he wrote all this stuff up and put it out on Facebook, and it made it look like this is what they were approving. Well, the bad news is most of the people there have already booked up a lot of stuff. A lot of times it's the people that came last year. When they leave, they say, we want to go ahead and we'll come back with our tent next year. Okay. And they're like, yeah, sure. We'll put you down as one, so you can always find some tent spots there, but there's always people that are going to be coming back. For instance, one sexy biker chick, she's got a house, which actually is commercial. And that's what she brought. Well, she had somebody talk because she's out of the country, but she had somebody talk and said her property is across the street from the Iron Horse. So she has a house that she totally rents out rooms. She's got a lot of tents there. She's got showers and bathrooms, running water. She didn't have any Johnny on the spots. They cook food. They do all kinds of stuff for them in the price that you pay. So she's already got half her place already rented out. And they're like, and now they're like, well, what are you supposed to do? And then another person that we know,
Beth.
she has some property that a vendor wants to be there so they can have a spot. Well, if they can't have a place to put their trailer at in her alley where they've always been able to hook up at for electric and stuff, then they're not coming at all. So you're going to lose a vendor and 2 trailers that they were going to bring. So that's money. And so what they ended up trying to say, which really makes a lot of sense, is a lot of the people that were in here, which the city had no freaking idea. They didn't bring anybody in that as a spokesperson when the committee got together. It was, I think they said 2 people were just open minded. We could talk about atomic bombs too with them too, and we could see they could maybe make a rule on that too. But I mean, it's instead of going out and finding a couple people that have things there, but see, nobody knew nothing about it. A lot of people I didn't find out till about 3 days before it happened. I think on Friday of the week before is when I got contacted and said, look what the city's doing. I think it might've been Beth. Somebody sent me a thing and I looked it up and I'm like, holy crap. So, and there's also a Sturgis thing that I watched this page where they put a lot of stuff up. And so when it all came down, they ended up saying that, which made an excellent point, that there was a lot of people, which you couldn't see from the camera. You can't see.
You can hear the noise though.
But it's not a very big
How many
room.
people were there, Beth? How many do you think?
But I mean, they only have like 3 rows of seats and they're only as wide as the building is, and that's it. So there probably was maybe 25, 30 people might have been there. But they were all for it. Nobody was there to speak out against it because they all wanted to know who the complainer was. It ended up being the people that had the property. They spoke last because there were some rumors that the people were peeing in the gut. in the alley and all this stuff. And it was just,
It was
wasn't,
unsanitary.
and we already knew the story. 'Cause I think I actually talked to a couple when we were in Sturgis, and because I went to the meeting after the rally, and they were talking about this, and those people were there. And I think I talked to them, and that's what they said. That code enforcement came and knocked on the door and said they're not allowed to have tents there. I don't know if they made them I don't think they made them do anything. I think they just told them. And so
Beth said she's been dealing with it since October. She said the difference in the ordinance is a health issue, but zoning allows it. I've been dealing with this since October.
well, see, what I say is if there's a problem, like let's say you got these RVs and you're just dumping gray water out in the alley. Well, then yes, code enforcement should come and ticket you, and those RVs got to go. Or you got to bring some tanks to hold it. You got to clean the mess up and do all that. That's the way it should be. Shouldn't be that people
She
have
said
to.
70 people were there, 70 plus
At her-
at the meeting, the council meeting.
Geez, that's
There was a lot of
Must've
people
been-
standing.
Must have been in the alley. but I mean, it was. But one of the points they made, which I don't know, it's probably at least 1,000 people probably are staying in yards all over Sturgeon. Okay, and those people typically spend all their money in town. So they usually might go out on a ride during the day, come back, they eat breakfast in town, they're going to eat dinner in town, they're going to go down on the main because they can walk down the main street, get drunk and stupid and stumble back. And even some of the people even offer free shuttle service for their people that are there. So if somebody's down on Main Street with a bunch of guys and one of the guys is so drunk he can't walk, you can call the guy that owns the property and he comes and picks you up, picks everybody up and brings them back. So there was like, I don't know, half a dozen people that said they even do that. So, and we drive through town all the time too. I don't really see any chaos in the there's one guy that which I don't know who he is. Hopefully he's not on. But he's the one that's behind the Harley dealer there on the right-hand side. He's got a lot of stuff going on back there. And it almost, he might even have a band back in there. I don't know, which that is a lot to be going on with people around you, neighbors, people that live here too. You got to be, and that's what one of the people brought up was if you get a call, the police get a call for loud noise, the police pull up and hear that it's loud enough, they need to talk to the owner and say, you need to calm these people down or we're going to have to do something. Well, the idea would be if do something, people got to get out. Well, that's what it should be done. Because it'd be no different than anything else. When Iron Horse did that, the Iron Horse had that band that was effing this and effing that at 12 o'clock at night and playing until 2 o'clock in the morning. Police came in there and said, you either shut it down or we're going to close you down. So there is ways that can be handled on the situation that happens. But if 99% of the people that are doing these yard camping doesn't have an issue, then why not let them do it? It's not hurting anybody.
I don't know if Beth says if it's the guy that complained that started all this ruckus, it says he's a neighbor, lives outside of town and has rentals on the same street. And then he left the meeting after the third person spoke. They said they limited it to 3 minutes. And I mean, some of these people talked like 20, 30 minutes.
It drug on. It started because that was the night that YouTube had all that issue with YouTube went down.
Yeah.
Because I went on originally and it hadn't come on yet. And I said, it's like, it was 12.1. And I'm like, I'm going to wait a little while. Well, then we had trouble. Couldn't get back on YouTube. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm changing my password. I'm like, oh, geez, they take my channel down, but I could get in to my channel, but I couldn't get in and see any other videos. So it ended up being YouTube had a problem. Well, finally, about a quarter after, it came up and it was already into it. People were already, I guess, no, they were still talking at the table.
The lawyer was talking it.
Yeah.
And then people hadn't come. I think Beth was the first one up.
Which was really funny because the lawyer snapped at somebody that interrupted him. But then later on in the evening, he interrupted a lady that was talking. And I'm like, please, somebody yell at him for interrupting her. Because he was like, I'm not done. And he snapped at him. And I'm like, he needs to go. That guy needs to be adios. He didn't do his homework. He's a lousy lawyer. I don't care whose brother-in-law he is, but he's a lousy lawyer. If he didn't do his research to know what he was talking about, when people could ask questions, and all he did is double talk all the way through it. And everybody else was just kind of like, didn't know. There was actually one guy, which I don't know which guy that is, but next to the mayor, that guy was to the right of the mayor. He was really good because he was at the end. He was like,
we need to tell these people something when they leave,
before
they leave.
I always say he's a young kid, but they say everybody's over 30 years old. But the kid all the way to the left, right on the end, he got in there at the end too. And then finally, what's the guy, the older guy? Jim finally came on board at the end with them too. So 3 of them were kind of like, let's make something up. Well,
Let's
the
make a
lawyer said,
decision
we
tonight.
can't do anything right now. We can't give them the okay because we don't know what we're going to do because they dumped it back on the mayor's lap to decide that if you want to make an ordinance or if we
No,
just
we
let it
saw
go
you.
as is, that if the mayor needs to take account of whatever he needs to do, well, then that's what I do. I would say if I was the mayor, that's what I would put out before the rally. That here's the way it's going to be. If you get a police call that the police can prove, it's like you got to prove it. Just like somebody's got a barking dog, the cops have to pull up and hear that barking dog for 15 minutes before they can do anything about it. Same thing. If they pull up in front of your house and all your people are out there screaming and yelling and got music all loud and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, then you need to be talked to. Maybe first time's a warning, next time's a fine. Third time would be adios, everybody out of your property. And next year you can't have it. And that's the way it should be because you need to control the people that come to your lot because that's the way it should be. And a lot of people, which they talk about, a lot of people came on this board, people that do camping, and most of them said they were family and friends. But what they really, I think what they mean is it's people that have been coming for 20 years on their lot. And now they're just like you guys. When we meet a lot of you, you are our friends. We know you, we vouch for you, we would stand up for you, but we don't really know you after you leave, after we don't see you again. We don't know what you're doing after that. But when we're with you, we know from that point. And I think that's what a lot of people that are there that have people come, they're the same people who are like, Beth, if she's got somebody on her lot that's causing problems, she's going to go out and talk to them. And One Sexy Biker Chick, and probably a lot of those other people that were there. They seem very responsible people. Some of the people have been living there 30, 40. Some of the people have been there all their whole life. And their families. Grandma was doing it before. So it's like, they're just a mess. But what we heard is that you can go ahead and do whatever.
If the lawyer kept saying, well, are we going to table this? Are we going to, well, if you table this, you have to do blah, 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 or you can't do this, that. Like you can't come back to it if you table it. And it was, I don't know. He wanted it to put one tent. That's it. End of story. Meeting adjourned. That's what the lawyer wants. The way I felt.
But see, a lot of people brought up and said, okay, the city is broke. They're probably not very far from being bankrupt. And the problem that they have is they don't have a lot of money. So that's what somebody else said. Well, if you're going to do permits, who are you going to hire to go out and do all these inspections? And is it going to be every day? Are you going to come to somebody's house every hour? How is it going to work? Well, of course, they had no clue. They had no idea. They asked them all these questions about who's going to keep track of this? Who's going to do this? And they said, are you going to charge us for the permits? We've never had to pay before. Is this just another scam for the city to get money out of us? Well, you shouldn't be screwing your own people. It's bad enough the rally's there, but let them there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. That's the way it is. It's what they should do is write it up and say, you can put whatever you want on your property. You can put 1,000 tents on your property. Good for you.
If the government puts their hands on something, it's usually screwed up.
Gets out of control and the police have to come because you got too many people there that you can't control, now it's your problem. But that's your problem because you put 1,000 property. You got 20 acres and you're okay with that. So it's like One Sexy Biker Chick. We ride by her lot all the time. It's packed. There's 40 tents at least inside there. It's crowded. But we never see any trouble going on there. Now we're not there at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, but I don't see people getting crazy and the bikes are all on. And they were talking about that too. Well, it's taking up parking spots on the street.
That's what they said. You couldn't.
So if I rented a house and I brought my car and trailer and they're hooked together and I got my motorcycles parked out there too, am I not taking up space there? Well, that's what somebody else said. Is there somebody that actually has a house that said there's 40 people in this 3-bedroom house that they're all vendors for this one location? And the city kind of opened their eyes and they're like, well, are you going to start hounding all the Airbnbs? Making a rule. They can only have so many cars. The cars have to be parked in the yard or they have to be parked in the alley or whatever it is.
No street parking.
It's almost like maybe it's the lawyer. Somebody wants to get rid of the tents. That's what it's about. It's got nothing to do with one person complained and that's the way it is. Yes, there should be something put on the books, but does it need to? You can't do it. I don't care if they even started last October. They screwed up because it should have been by January. They should have already had the ball rolling, not 2 months ago, and finally get the ball rolling and make a decision. Rally's coming. People were already booking the 1st of January. Buffalo Chip and the Full Throttle were already taking reservations before the 1st of the year. They were taking it 3 weeks after the rally ended. Full Throttle was. Buffalo Chip waited another month. before they got started. But
Only a few weeks, I think. It wasn't a
but
month
it
even.
it all started a lot sooner this year. Well, the same thing with these people that have property. If I'm going to stay at somebody's, I'm staying at Beth's house. I need to know, you
Can I
know,
stay here or not?
do I need to make other arrangements?
Beth said she's never had any parking, any problem, and they always park on the street.
And it's right. There's no
Well,
reason.
there's some people that
How many-
live there.
How many motorcycles can I put in a spot that a car would park in?
Four.
So, but I mean, it's that's why I said it's got nothing to do with it because there's cars parked all over the place, on all the back streets. There's cars parked there. There's motorcycles parked there. There's people that are renting houses that got motorcycles parked in the street. Doesn't make any difference. It's money coming into the city, and that's the problem. Once again, I think a lot of this is drawn up by this. He could have didn't. He's talking about the health and the welfare, and they were trying to say everybody has to have a Johnny on the spot for every 10 people that you have, and da da da. And well, out there it's about $400 to rent a Johnny on the spot. So you'd have to have, if you're only charging people $40, you just did 10 people, and you just paid for the Johnny on the spot. I didn't even
So
make
you
any
didn't make
money
any
yet.
money.
So, like one person said, they rent houses out. So one of the things you may not realize that there's people that probably about 80% of the people in the city of Sturgis that rent houses or apartments or anything like that, they have to move out for the rally. There's
It's
even
in
a
their
business. There's
contract.
even a thrift store. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was there a couple years ago. That they had to close up. There was a bicycle shop. They had to get all their stuff out because the landlords run it out. Well, you might say, well, that's not right. Well, the difference is what they do is say you got to move out for those 2 or 3 weeks, and I'll only charge you $600 a month. What happens if I stay for the 3 weeks? It's $1,000. You can make the choice. And we knew one lady, she paid $1,000. She didn't want to move out because you got to leave all your furniture and people use your beds and all that stuff too. You don't get anything for it, but you're getting cheaper rent. So that's pretty common already that people are renting out their houses. I don't know where those people go on vacation, or
What do they do with
they're
all
out,
their
they're in
junk?
somebody's yard with a tent. I don't know what they're at.
Maybe.
I don't know. But it's a deal that they do in Sturgis. So just to let you know, if you're renting a house, you might be evicting somebody at that time. So just get out your phone. You can tell people where we're going to be at during the Daytona Bike Week. This is kind of a rundown. And so they're saying things. We're waiting for our flat track. I got my approval. She hasn't got her approval yet. I don't know what day we're going to do that yet. So you want to get a piece of paper. I don't know what days you're there. You want to see us at these events. Not saying we're going to be on Main Street and all that.
So Friday the 27th, the day at openings, opening day, the first day. There's the No Class Bike Show. That's at the Broken Spoke. And then that evening, we're planning on being down on Main Street.
So Friday and Saturday nights of the first weekend, we're going to be down on Main Street. Probably as long as we can stay up. We're going to try to stay 10 or 11 o'clock, maybe a little later. I don't know.
Saturday morning, we're not going to do this. You can go out to DeLand Bike Day. The Sons of Speed is going to have their race. That's in New Smyrna. We will be at Camp Easy Ride at the Cabbage Patch.
Cackleberry. Very Cackleberry. Cabbage.
Oh, that's where they were in the fall, huh?
Looking at the Cackleberry from 10 to 11, 9 to 11. 9 to 11. We'll be at Camp Easy Ride. You can park your bikes out front. You probably have to walk in. They're probably not going to let you ride your bike back to Camp Easy Ride. Might be able to sneak around, but you go around the other way, you probably can.
And after we leave that, we're going to go to the EV show, show at the Turn Restaurant. That's on the 1. And we'll be there. That's from 12 to 4, but we'll probably only be there
About an hour.
from 12 to 1, probably we'll be there. And back down on Main Street Saturday night. And then Sunday, the 1st, we'll be at the Beaver Bar in the morning. The Clydesdales will be on Main Street at 3 o'clock.
So the Clydesdales are only going to be 3 places with the full hitch team. So they're going to be on Main Street both Saturdays at the same exact time. And then they're also going out to Cabbage Patch.
When I get to it, I'll tell you. I don't remember.
I don't know if you put that on there. We're not going out there.
I don't know. I wrote down a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So the Clydesdales at 3 o'clock will be on Main Street. The cowboy, that's the Kid Rock guy, he's going to be at the Broken Spoke that night. The True Grit, I think that's Warren Lane. His bike show will be at the Broken Spoke. The Twisted Tea bikini contest says it'll between 2 and 4:30.
We're thinking about 4 o'clock, but we'll be down there. That's at the
Boot Hill. That's on Main Street. So that's Sunday the 1st. So you can see us either at Beaver Bar, probably the Clydesdales on Main Street. We'll probably be down there for that. The Twisted Tea Bikini Contest at the Boot Hill will be there for that. We'll probably stop by sometime and go to the True Grit.
Yeah.
Monday the 2nd, David Pirouette's 75th birthday party will be at the Broken Spoke, and that starts at 5:30. That's in the evening. So we'll probably stop by there for a minute. The Flying Pistons breakfast, that's that morning at Sinners and Saints. We'll be there for that. That's 9 to 11.
Now, if you go online right now, if you want to go with us, it's $20. You go to Teddy Morris's, or you can go on our Bob and Tam's Facebook page, and there's some links and stuff on there that you can go to. Go to Teddy Morris's website, and you can go in there and pre-register for it. They have a bunch of auction stuff. They're going to have the guy from Counting Cars, Ryan, that does the painting and stuff. He's going to be there the whole time. Rusty Wallace will be there and his clan. Also, some other people usually show up too, biker people and stuff. It might be cool to see. Painters and stuff sometimes show up. People that
a lot of the hamsters come. Woody's probably going to be there because he said he did.
Yeah.
So we'll probably see. And then I don't know if they can hear that back. March the 3rd, the Bells Ride is going to be at the Speedway. Broken Spoke's going to have their Cycle Source bike show. That was the day we didn't have a whole lot going on. So since we were already going to be at the Speedway for the Bikers Bell Ride, just to see them off and film that, we were thinking maybe that's the day we would try to do some demo rides on a bunch of different bikes. That's our plan. That'll happen or not, I have no idea. So that's all that we've got on Tuesday the 3rd. Wednesday the 4th is the Clydesdales will be at Cabbage Patch at noon. So that's where that one's going to be at. I don't know if we'll be there, but they will be there.
We probably won't.
The David Pirouette's bike show, paint show, that'll be there at the
Buffalo, at
the Broken Spoke. JoJo's Chopper Show, that's at Giuseppe's Pizza, Steel Wing Pizzas. Oops, am I doing that?
Yes.
That'll be in the mid-afternoon. It'll go from like 11 to 3 or whatever. And that's at Giuseppe's Pizza. That's on Wednesday the 4th. And Thursday the 5th, we'll be at Willie's Tropical Tattoo Chopper Time Show. We'll be there in the morning. Probably that afternoon, we'll probably go sometime and see the flat track racing. Well, probably late afternoon.
I don't know. The day we're
And then the unveiling of the Twisted Tea bike at the Boot Hill is going to be, it just says, time. I guess they're just going to display it.
Find out what.
And if you want to see Colt Ford at the Iron Horse, that's also Thursday, March 5th. The 6th, that'll be Friday. The Boardwalk Bike Show will be going on the boardwalk. That's at the end of Main Street there. Dennis Kirk Bike Show will be going on at the Broken Spoke. The Burning Bike happens at night out at Fast Lanes. And then they have the Miss Bikini, whatever, Miss Burning Bike pageant. The Missile Midget Wrestling.
Micro bit.
That will be going on. That is at the Doghouse. Flat track racing. And then if you wanted to see 38 Special, that's supposed to be up there at Sinners and Saints in the pavilion somewhere at Teddy Morris's.
And we'll know more when we get there.
Saturday, the Clydesdales will be back on Main Street at 3 o'clock. The Viola Bike Show will be at, I got 3 o'clock. I did say 3. You told me 3.
Oh, yeah, I guess it does say 3. The other one, I guess the other one is.
The Viola Bike Show at the Broken Spoke. I think that's like the Cholo bikes and all those kind of bikes, ones that are all decked out and etched and low riders and all that stuff. That's the only 2 things we got down for Saturday.
So all that is kind of up in smoke. Don't knowing what we're going to do. We'll put it up here on a Facebook page in the next day or 2. Bob and Tim and say, here's kind of our schedule of what it'll be. If you're interested in riding with us and doing stuff, we're probably going to do the Ormond Loop somewhere along the line. I don't know what day yet because we want to go down to Flagler Beach. I don't know if we're going to ride into St. Augustine's. I don't know what we're. Once we get down there and kind of nail everything down, we kind of get an idea. Because most of these bike shows, we're there probably less than an hour because we go look at the bikes, you film some, maybe we talk to a couple people, and we're done. I'm not a big bike show person. That's kind of how I do things. So most of the time we just kind of look at them and see what's going on and talk about them. If there's somebody we know, we talk to them and stuff like that. Or if we got a few people interested in bikes, we put that on for a future video. I don't know what kind of videos we're going to put out while we're there. There'll still be a video every day come out. Tuesday, I don't know what we're going to do yet. I haven't decided. We got a video coming out Monday on a ride in Daytona.
This Tuesday coming up. The rally.
So what we're talking about this week. So Monday, I got a video coming out. Tuesday, I don't have anything yet. But once we get into Wednesday on, there'll be a video probably every night. I don't know. We're going to talk to the police chief on Wednesday. Depending on how fast I can get that out. We're going to try to edit maybe during the day where it gives us nighttime to work around. I don't know how long the videos will be. Some of the video stuff we'll probably save for later on. And we'll talk about, because that's what we're going to do the first couple of days we get down there, Wednesday and Thursday, because it doesn't start till Friday. We'll try to get around as much as we can and show you where everything is at. So if you're on your way, if you watch that night or whatever, you can see, kind of get you an idea of what kind of events are going to be. Where's everybody at? Speed Performance Plus now is going to be out at the racetrack at Speedway. So they'll be out there now. They're not over at Teddy Morris's. They got their noise. And then I think it's because they started doing dynos inside. You'll go over to Speed and do your best job for dyno. Everything else kind of looks like Teddy Morris is about the same as it was before. Vendors look like about the same. I don't see anything really new or old. JP Cycles usually has about the same people there all the time. Speedway we'll have to see. Last year in Daytona, that was probably one of the good years. They had a lot of stuff going on. That's what we're going to do this year is do more riding on different bikes. Some Royal Enfields, maybe take a Honda out, some of Kawasaki, some of the other bikes.
See the Honda with the clutch.
But I'm not sure if Honda's.
Yep, they are.
And so we're going to ride a few of the bikes, and you won't see that till after the rally. And we're going to talk about some of the bikes there. We're going to do some Harley riding too. They want bikes. So we're going to take a few of those out on a demo rides probably too. Probably not going to take them out any distance. But just kind of get a feel for some different bikes. But kind of going to spend a couple hours just there after the Biker Bells are doing that ride. It's a great cause to go on. Guys can ride on it too if you want to see a lot of ladies. A lot of them out there. They usually go out towards the Ormond Loop, and then they end up down at Teddy Morris, and they have a big thing going on there with vendors and stuff down there for the ladies and stuff. So it's pretty cool. We've done it once this year. We were thinking about doing it again this year, but with us thinking about doing demo rides, we just figured we're just going to stay. Once we film them leaving, then we'll go over and do our demo rides. Get as many as we can get done in a few hours, and so we'll see how that all works out. And so that's planned on one day. Like I say, we'll do a ride. Got a handful of places we're going to eat at off and on. I don't know. There's a few people that's already kind of chased us down, wanting to meet up with us and buy us dinner, whatever, or go with us. So we'll do breakfast. Both Sundays we'll be at Beaver Bar for breakfast. We'll get there about 8 to about 11, 10 or 11. Depends on how many people show up. Once you show up, we hang around. We don't mind staying. But if we sit there an hour and nobody shows up, I'm out of there. I got other things we could be filming or doing or checking out, whatever. So we'll see how that all works out. But yeah, pretty exciting. Hoping it's going to be a good year. I think with all the snow and all that stuff that's up north, I think a lot of people are going to head down to Florida this year because
thanks, Michael.
High 50s at night and lows and even 70s during the day is like summertime to them.
Yeah, so I figure a lot. I think it'll be crowded this year at Daytona. We'll see. I mean, if they get this blizzard, they're expecting 1 to 2 feet of snow, not inches. They might be snowed in. I don't know.
A lot of people are thinking about not leaving until after the snow, and it's like, no, if I was you and I'm pulling my trailer, I'd get the hell out of there today and start getting down.
Well, maybe some people still have to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I'm sick. Flu, the cold,
the blue flu,
something emergency. Some way I get because they're trying to get out in snow and I've had that. I've known a few years ago, we talked to some people from Ohio, and they had to shovel the driveway to get their motorcycle out the door, and they rode snow for, like, the first day was all in snow on the roads till they got out of, I don't know where they were. They started in Ohio, but
I thought they were in Chicago.
they were started at
I
yeah,
remember the
so
story, but
it's so some people can get through it all, but I mean, some people aren't used to riding all that distance. Kind of depends on what's happening. And I mean, along
nothing else, load your bike up before the snow hits.
no, a lot of people doing that. I've seen a lot of people on Facebook now. You got their bikes inside the trailers already. They're all loaded up, back of their pickup truck or whatever, trying to get down. And they're like, "Oh, you should ride your bike. Maybe you should live in their neighborhood and drive down and see how that works." Because in this kind of, I've never. I'm an advocate for that now. I used to always say that too. You weren't a real man unless you rode your bike to a rally. But once we started pulling the trailer and taking the bike down like that, like, what a difference is when we go to Sturgis. Tell me what day you show up to Sturgis, and I'll ride 2,000 miles with you. 4 or 5 days you're there, and we'll see how good you hang in with. Because the idea is you rode all that way, you're tired. We did that once. We rode 2,200 miles to Sturgis, and we sat in the grass for 3 days. We're just tired of motorcycle. Didn't want to ride it. We didn't want to do anything on it. And it's like, and then once we pull the trailer, we pull the bikes out, and it's like, let's go, jump on them. We're ready to ride. And it was like, wow, I had no idea. And when I think about it now, and I ask people all the time when I get these serious guys that say, you're not a real biker if you're not riding to the rally. I go, well, besides stopping to eat, place to sleep, and gas, what else are you doing on the road? Nothing. So what are you proving? That you can ride 1,000 miles or 2,000 miles to a rally? I've done that. She's done that. So what does that make us? Does that make you better than us? So when I like to do a ride, which we're thinking about next year, because we're thinking maybe we might not do East Coast next. May not do Daytona and all the rallies on that side of the world, and do rides where you can come out. And when I do a ride, it will be a ride you'll never forget because we stop and see things and do stuff, and it's what we say. It's an adventure that we go on. It's just not. It's going to be some highway riding, it's gonna be hill riding, curve riding. Going to be some cool places to stop at. Or we're not big drinkers, but we're not stopping at bars just to hang out at them. But we are, there is a lot of the hotels we stay at and stuff. They have bars. Now we're not dragging a tent around.
Riding 3 in Tennessee says that he's got 2 bikes and he likes to take both of them with him to the rallies, and he can't ride both of them down there, so he's got to trailer them.
After I did it, I see why. Now there is an exception to the rule, and we see this a lot in Daytona. That there are some people that will drag the trailers down from wherever they come, and they really don't ride their bike. They ride it during Daytona Bike Week, and they ride it during Biketoberfest. Other than that, their bike sits in their storage unit, or garage, or shed, or whatever they have, and they never ride their bike. Now that I see a problem with because they don't have the experience to ride in that kind of atmosphere. Because people always say that. I get that every year. It's my first time going to a rally. What should I expect? And I said, where do you live? Well, I live out in the country in Wyoming. What's the biggest city you've ever rode in? Well, this town, I look it up and it's got 2,000 people. You have no idea what it's like. It's like I tell people, if you can ride in LA during 7 o'clock in the morning and you can split lanes and not get killed, you're going to do pretty good at a rally. You've been to Chicago, you've been to any major city that cars don't know cars would rather kill you than let you get in front of them. And so when I see that, plus this drives me crazy all the time. And hopefully one of you guys aren't one of these people, but it's like we're on a ride with somebody and they're always shaking their hand. And it's like, we're not even in the city where you're constantly pulling the clutch in at every stop sign or you're idling through. The Sturgis used to be like that before the 75th. We were there for the 74th. We were there for the 72nd and the 70th. You would idle your bike on the weekend all the way out to full throttle, idled. You didn't leave by 5 o'clock in the evening to get out there. You idled your bike out. That bad. Bikes would be sitting on the side of the road, people pushing their bikes. And that's when when the city tries to say how big of crowds we have, it's nothing compared to what it was. Now, we weren't there for the 75th. I wouldn't begin to even be there for the 70th. I know how bad it was for the 74th, and that was insane. And That's why we ended up putting love jugs and all that kind of stuff on our bikes because it made a big difference. And so when they say all that, so when you go to a rally, if you're not, it's like people that go out there to Iron Mountain or Needles Highway and they're doing 15 miles an hour around the curves because they never rode a curvy road before. Well, during the motorcycle rally, that's not a good time to do that.
Should be.
If you wanted to do it, get your butt up early in the morning before everybody else gets up and get out there and enjoy your nice little ride. But to do it, it's like the cars that come out there. They get out there and they're scared to get through the tunnel or whatever it is. And it's like, it's kind of like we used to have over here in Laughlin. I used to love when we used to go out there. You'd always see these old people walking down the sidewalk with a big old grin on their face, like they're pissed off.
Ellen.
And I'm like, "Hey, you didn't know there was a motorcycle rally, did you?" No. Well, they got comped. And that's why they got comped because they knew there wouldn't be enough people spending money, but it was all the damn motorcycle. This is ridiculous. They used to be really good. Laughlin, the whole street was they'd be cruising up the whole time. It was only motorcycles out there. If you had a car, you weren't getting around. It's
No, in Laughlin.
And
There's only one road in Laughlin. So that's Casino Drive or Casino Boulevard or Casino
whatever it is.
something.
No, so-
No, I hate it when bikes split traffic. There's always someone that tried to cut you off. Yep.
We've had that before. I've knocked 2 mirrors off. And,
Hey,
people
Myron,
came
how
over
you
my
doing?
lane.
Top
I had
down
one time
high.
I'm splitting lane down the side of the road. I'm on the left side. That's where we're supposed to be. And I'm still on my line, but it was only a 2-lane road. The traffic was all stopped. So I'm running down the middle. Cars coming at me. And this guy decides he's going to make a U-turn. So luckily, I've learned by splitting lanes, because I've done so much of it in California, I learned to look side mirror. They may not turn their head and look. They will always glance at their mirror. Just like opening the car door. Always glance at the mirror before they swing that car door open and you pick it off. Cars I've knocked mirrors off of has been cars that came into my lane when I'm right next to them. Off goes their mirror. I'll lose something and off I go. Can't see my plate. They ain't gonna see your plate anyway. 1, 2. But we have that too. You have it. We just had it here in Arizona, which you don't have split lane. We had some crotch rocket come flying through today. Get caught. It is an arrestable offense. Sturgis and Daytona's the same way. You can't pass on the shoulder. And a lot of people want to do that, especially there at the Iron Horse. They get over in that right lane, and I've seen people get stopped. And it's like, we're all standing in line. Why do you think you're so special that you can get on the shoulder and drive down and pass us all up? Got what you deserved.
In California. And you're probably not supposed to do this. Because it's just a 1-lane road, but they would have a bike lane. My bike, I'd get in the bike lane and I'd just zip past everybody and on my way I'd go.
And so, yeah, but I mean, in California, it's kind of variance on what you can, because you're supposed to always pass
On the right.
So when you're on a 6-lane highway, it's always on, except for the shoulder.
Yeah.
And because you're not supposed to pass it.
So Fender Kitten's on too.
Yeah.
Said Shelby said hi. I said hi back to Shelby.
And so, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
The ticket too.
Hopefully we get, you never know. It'd be nice to get up in the 80s a little bit, but I mean, I'm okay. 50s at night, high 50s isn't going to be a big deal. The first few days we're staying down by Main Street, and then we're going to be staying farther away. That's why we're going to do Main Street the first couple of nights. Get down there because we're not going to be down there like the last Friday and Saturday. We won't be down there at night.
So Sean and Rick, are you guys going to Daytona this year? I know you've been before. I know you don't go every year, but didn't know if you were going this year or not.
So you can go to our Bob and Tam's Excellent Adventures. We have our Facebook page, and that's where I have a lot of the posters of all the different things that we've been talking about tonight.
Flyers.
You can see where all the Clydesdales are. There's a bunch of nights, a bunch of days. They're going to have just one horse. If you want to see one.
I don't know what they usually tell you where they're going to be kenneled up or whatever they call it.
You need to call
stables, where the stables are going to be at. And then you can just go there and see them all when they're not out and about.
I don't know. We'll find out where they're at. Get down there, talk to somebody.
Probably the chief will know.
Over in Daytona's really not coming
Yep.
in Normandy.
But for me, riding fast on the twisties is half the fun of riding the Black Hills. I usually do it passing somebody.
That's what it is. I'll say it used to be that people would flag you by, and people don't do that. We've been behind a guy that he's all over the road. He's in his lane all over. And it's like, No, you could stay on either the inner or the outer, and I'd go around you in your lane. But once again, there's a lot of people that do go to motorcycle rallies and they don't know the etiquette. We probably should do it. Talk about that. There's some etiquette, same thing I'd say. Well, like in the Black Hills, there's so many turnouts that you can pull over and let people get by you. And if you can't look in your rear view mirror while you're doing the twisties, you probably shouldn't be riding your motorcycle. Because you should always be able to glance up a second and see what's behind you. But if we've been following you for 3 miles and you're all over the road, you need to pull over. And I do that. Sometimes that's what happens. I get some crotch rocket pull behind me and I pull over. I either get all the way over to the shoulder, and if there's not a turnout, and I wave them by, come on by. If you're in that damn big a hurry, go on by. You're not hurting my feelings that you want to ride faster than I do. I do all right.
I don't remember that. They said there was mystery fog last year on Main Street. They said it'd be kind of cool if it did it again this year. I remember there was a little bit of fog in places.
Could be temperature change. Sometimes if the water's warmer and a warm front comes in or cold front comes in, it can cause that. So we're going to see how it all goes this year. See how it all goes and see all the excitement. And like I say, we'll do this, come back home after Daytona, and we load up the bikes and everything, get ready for Arizona Bike Week. Looks like we're going to be there. We're actually getting there. We're going to be at a campground on week before. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to be real close to Cave Creek. We'll hang out there for 3 days at Cave Creek. Monday, we go over to
Westgate.
Yeah, Westgate.
Westworld
in Scottsdale. And we'll be staying there with all the big campers and stuff. We're going to be on their lot from Monday till Sunday. Till Monday or whatever day they kick it out. So we'll be there that whole time and covering a lot of that stuff there. We want to do some rides. If you're coming to Arizona early, that Monday and Tuesday, we're looking at doing some serious riding in Arizona. So if you're out that way, let us know. We'll take you around and show you some cool places that we've done about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago. We're going to go do some cool riding. A little bit of Arizona from an Arizonan. And so we're going to do that.
Art said he might go to that.
Who?
Art, didn't he say he might come to Arizona Bike Week?
And so then we'll come back and then we get ready to go for Leesburg. We fly in for Leesburg. I'll be there for Leesburg, Panama City, and Myrtle Beach. And then once that's all done, we head back home and we get ready to load up for Sturgis. In Sturgis for 9 weeks. And then we come home and we still waiting to see what's going on with Biketoberfest. I'm not sure about Ocean City yet. We'll let you know as we get closer to those dates what's going to happen. Those of it. We don't know yet. We don't know for sure what's going on. She's got the dates here of all the exciting stuff that's going on. But right now we have 5 days to Daytona Bike Week starting day. I count 4 because really we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday it starts. Day's over. So I say 4 days. They say 5. Arizona Bike Week is 45 days away. Leesburg Bike Week is 60 days away. Thunder Beach in Panama City is 66 days away. So those two run right behind each other. Then we've got Myrtle Beach, which is 75 days away. Sturgis now, listen to this, 166 days motorcycle. And the city can't decide if people can have tents on their property. They're supposed to tentatively let them. That it's supposed to be the same, but we don't.
That's what Beth said. This year is going to be fine. The
council hasn't voted on it and approved it, so it's not officially in writing yet. But they've been told that it's supposed to be good. So I'm believing that they will, because they're stupid if they don't. Ocean City is 199 days, so it's quite a ways away yet. And Lake of the Ozark is 205. Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue is 220 days. If we go back down, Trike Fest next year down at Teddy Morris's, 228 days. That's only 8 days after Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. And then Biketoberfest is 235 days. We may end up doing, which I haven't made a decision yet, depends on Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue and all that. We may do the Mexico Rally, Rocky Point. Taking that around. I like that rally. I'd like to go back and do it. Second look. There's our rundown of.
I know I thought I had Laconia on there, but I didn't. But
Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue, probably we will. But the Cat House is up for sale. That's one of our sponsors. It gets there. And depending on what, I don't think he'll sell the book. But we haven't really sat down and discussed how we're going to do it. because we're starting to watch our, you know, like we got some miles we're using this year. Some of the trips we're taking, credit card miles, so that's helping a little bit. Talk to some of our sponsors. A lot of our sponsors we have don't necessarily give us anything. What they do is they give us something like, for instance, I'm going to put Red Rock Harley Davidson. What they do is they let us leave our vehicle there while we go to the airport. Still cost me, if it's a long rally, it pays for itself. But if if it's a short rally, it's not, because we got to Uber back, and that's like $30. Yeah, $60 each round trip. But it would cost me $100 or more to
Rick
leave it
said
in
he'd give us a ride.
long-term storage. Cost us, could cost, like, when we're gone for that 3 months, it could cost us, $300 or $400. So they're a sponsor. I'm gonna put them on the list because they're not giving us any money, but they're helping me because I don't have to spend the money for the parking. So we have things like that. 160 Biker Chick, she's let us stay at her house before. We have a Midwest Motorcycles, works with us on a motorcycle. We have Big Trail Harley Davidson. They help us with the motorcycle there. Gator Harley, I don't think I got them on. Gator Harley is going to give us a motorcycle for, not give us, let us borrow a motorcycle.
Let us use a motorcycle.
A lot of times they give us a used bike to ride,
which is fine.
It's not always necessarily a new bike or a rental bike, which is fine. We just need something with bags. Last bike even had a little damage on it. I didn't notice it when I picked it up, and I called him. He's like, want to make sure I don't have to pay for a new saddlebag. It's correct.
So Triketoberfest is the weekend before Biketoberfest, and Teddy Morris is trying to extend Biketoberfest by adding this unofficial rally to the beginning of it, so the vendors can come in a little earlier.
About half the vendors are showing up.
So he's riding on 3, so I'm assuming he has a trike. So, and then, he said he wasn't going to get to come to Sturgis this year because
before the Sturgis, they also have the Trike Fest there, 3-wheel rally.
Yeah.
We didn't cover it last year, but we'll try to get over there this year. Amsoil Adam always covers it. Didn't cover it. This year they had, it rained or what, but they kind of, we're going to go over on Friday. Then when I call Adam, he's like, "Oh man, we're breaking down and tearing down." And they ended up, because I think there was a storm coming in. They ended up they do a parade on Friday down Deadwood
and Main Street.
So I was like, we'll go out there ahead of time. We'll talk to everybody and do that, because it's a great group of people. But you have more Can-Ams and Spiders than you do trikes. But because when they first started, like 12 years ago, I think they've been 8 or 12. At first started, it was almost all trikes. But now a lot of people can't ride a trike anymore, so they switched over to Can-Am or Spider.
Yeah, and last Sunday, remember when I said, "What's that noise? Is that thunder out there?" It's fireworks. I know, but it was like, I couldn't believe they'd have fireworks on President's Day.
Look to the internet. You never know when they're doing it. So, yeah, pretty exciting. So
anyway, there you go.
For Daytona,
riding on 3 in Tennessee.
Hoping it's going to be a fun time, good time. Like I say, if anybody wants to do stuff with us, you just have to contact us. You can email us if you don't have our phone number. And then what we do is send you a phone number. Then you text us. Don't call us. You always text us first, because a lot of times that phone doesn't always ring. And you can email us, and it's your phone number, and then we'll send you back our phone number, and you'll have it. Then you can say, "Hey, I'm here in town. What are you guys doing today?" And then we can tell you what we're doing. A lot of times I don't always know, because sometimes we go to something and it's like there's nothing going on. Like, no, we're out of here. It's the same thing. We're looking for content. And so we do want to do some riding.
They're Monday picking up their rental bike from Heavy on Tuesday, and they said maybe we'll see you around. 24 below, blowing snow coming tomorrow here in Rhode Island, I guess. Can't wait to get riding.
I bet. And that's why I said it's a good time for people along the East Coast, especially this year, all the snow and stuff, and and all that crazy stuff that's going on. It's just nice to get down to, Florida is, it's different. Florida, every state you go to is different. And you just got to keep your mind open, keep your eyes looking all the time. Make sure you're aware of what's going around you, to make sure nobody's trying to kill you on their car or something like that.
Send us your information.
I don't really see any I've never had any trouble down there. I've never really seen any real trouble down there. Not saying there's not a fight or something somewhere, but it just seems like it's a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, so Road Hog 24 says they're going to Arizona Bike Week and like to meet up with us. So I gave him. I just emailed you. I left it up there so we could get it, but I didn't read the whole thing. So you'll be parking at Red Rock this year. Let me know if you need a ride to the airport. They're telling everyone. I know. Well, I don't know if you want to get up at
Well,
4:00 in the morning and
No.
take us to the airport.
Right. If you want to take us back, because I don't know what anytime on tomorrow.
Yeah. So Monday.
Tomorrow we're going to drop the truck off. Drop the truck off over at Red Rock. So
You can
I don't
take us
know.
to the hotel.
Yeah.
We'll Uber it to the airport. That's too early to ask somebody to get up and
that's a
take
long
us.
way for you to go, just to go from Excalibur over to. So that's not a big deal. They even have some deals on tax there. So we just got to check when we get there. We weren't thinking we are going to leave that quite that early. Usually I like it 2 hours ahead of time. But now since
They're saying at least 3.
Since not TSA, but we have
That's TSA.
TSA is what everybody goes through. Everybody goes
Pre-check. TSA pre-check.
So we have that. But even the global one, they've shut all those down at all the airports now. You have to stand in line with everybody's going through the same line. Well, you might get an exception because you're riding.
Yeah. We'll see.
We hope. I mean, you still have to. Usually, I wear my boots. I told her, you have to pack the boots because
they're packed now.
Take me an hour to get my damn boots on and off. I am all the way down. Usually, I wear the boots. That's what we pay for. I don't take anything out. Don't take my computer out. We don't do anything. We throw everything on the rail, walk through, and that's good. Yes, TSA pre-check. Everybody goes through TSA. TSA hasn't gone away. Pre-check and global one is gone right now. And I think what they've done, and I think it's a political, but it also too is these guys girls may not get paid next week. So they're going to be working on the count of hopefully get my money. Well, some of these people, which a lot of people in America now do, you live paycheck to paycheck. If I don't get a paycheck next Friday, I can't pay whatever bill I've got. So some of these people might say, hey, I'm going down to Walmart, or I'm going to go to Jiffy Lube, or go over to 7-Eleven and work part-time, at least get some money coming in. If you stay the whole whatever time they decide to settle this money, then you'll get all your back pay. But it's just getting to that point, depending on how long this drags out. The senators, they should not get paid. That's the way it should be.
If there's not a budget in the works or whatever, then they shouldn't get paid. Not until you do your job.
Should not let them go home.
Yep.
Stay there.
I still say that it should all be voluntary. I don't think you should get paid to be a senator, a representative, a council person. That should all be voluntary. And then you would get people on there that were doing it because they want to do it for the people and for the right reasons, not because they can make all this money and do whatever they want to whoever they want. That's my 2 cents.
That pension.
Yeah.
They don't live on Social Security.
Nope. For a pre-check, and they better have it open. Good luck with that. We'll see. Hopefully.
And so we'll have to wait and see how it happens when we get the way home. What some of the people are saying, because I think Tuesday night Trump's supposed to be doing his speech, whatever he's doing, and they think that they're holding it up for that, so they can say that he's not negotiating. I don't. It's stupid government. Doesn't matter what political party you are in; they're all crooks. The only business, if you're a senator, that you can be within 3 to 4 years, you can be a multimillionaire, and you're only making $170,000 a year. How does that work? So, and they only work 3 to 4 months a year. So, what the hell are they doing the rest of the time? Well, I know what some of them do. That's why I'm so against politics, because I used to be a big union boss in California, and I dealt with Sacramento. I know most of those people, and I could tell you some stories about how corrupt they are, some of the illegal stuff that they do.
But they all deny it. It's your word against theirs.
And my national rep he told me when I walked out the door, you better never say nothing, because they're going to deny it, and I'll deny that they said it, because they all drank. Big fancy steakhouse. $500 steaks worth.
Couple $100.
National pay. Pay with my union. So, but it was sitting down with all these politicians. What we were trying to do is I work for SoCal Gas. We were trying to get more money with the rate case so we could get rid of the contractors and hire more of us people doing the jobs, people doing it hourly jobs instead of paying a contractor and then they're gone. And so we were working with the company trying to get that. So we had to go to the politicians and lobby. So dealing with all them crooks, like I said, it didn't matter what party they were, they're all crooks. Most of them have no idea what an average person.
Left, right, or in the middle, didn't matter.
They wanted me to be a politician. A lot of my people that I represented 5,500 people, and they wanted me to run for like a Senate seat or something. I'm like, no, not interested. One,
Don't want to play the game.
yeah, you have to lie to play. Because whatever, to get something done, you got to stroke them to get what you want. So you have to do what they want to get what you want for your people. And I'm like, I don't play that game. Well, I would be voted out in 4 years because I would never get nothing done because I wouldn't want to do the stupid stuff, approve crap, and all the pork spending,
kickbacks and
all that stuff.
paybacks.
It's just a, and the politicians have no idea because they're all getting their paychecks and they live in their big houses
see.
with the brick walls around their houses, so nobody comes in. But
they want open borders, but not open to their house. Whatever.
Crazy time.
All right.
How long's it been?
An hour and almost 50 minutes. You got
10 minutes.
You can drag it out?
People we got on. 54 in a normal crowd. Somebody was posting it. Did Neil come on?
Yeah.
Figuring it was a normal, we gave you guys a pretty good heads up that we're going to do this. We thought we'd get maybe a better crowd coming, 100 people. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, very exciting. We're hopefully going to get back and do some stuff in the shop. I need to get done. We have not gotten another veteran bike yet. We're still kind of working on that. We'll talk to them when we get down to Red Rock tomorrow. We'll kind of jiggle his chain again. If we do something, then we'll talk to some of the other vendors or dealers when we get down to Teddy Morris. We haven't met the
new GM.
Haven't met the new GM yet.
So. We may have met him at the Indian dealer. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
So we don't know a whole lot about him. We think we met him when he worked at the Indian dealer in Daytona. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, we never did much with Indian there. Our big Indian dealer is in Sturgis. That's who 90% of the stuff. But we do now have a new one in Rogers, Arkansas.
KC next.
So get some more stuff with them.
He's got a European bike thing too. They're probably open now.
Stop there.
Triumph and something. Yeah, something like that. They're gonna have a couple bikes down there at that shop besides Indian. Hair's like half. Must be my hair. No.
Yeah. And so we'll see what all happens. But yeah, if you're going to Daytona, get a hold of us. I'd love to meet you. If we've never met you before, even if we met you now, we still would like to meet you again and meet up with you. I love seeing everybody. That's part of the reason we do what we do. Because we would have never, ever in our entire life ever met the people that we've met through this. She wrote a bunch of people this week. Somebody had a birthday, and somebody else she wrote today and asked them if they were coming down. And it's people that we've seen quite a bit. There's some people we see 4 or 5 times a year. Stuff with them. Some of them come on our lives when we do lives and sit down with them. Yeah, it's always good. It's kind of like a family reunion. You know, when you're watching Jackal, when he always talks about the old family reunion, you get to sit down and see some of the people that you get to see and talk to them and see what they're up to and what they've been doing. It's kind of cool. It's just that's part of the fun we do. Where I meet a YouTuber that doesn't like to meet people, I don't know why you would do this, especially with something like what we do here, where we're out in the public all the time. If I were in the shop all the time and I just worked on cars and trucks or whatever it was, then that's fine. But you don't really need to get out. But when you're out in the public all the time, like if you're an RV or you're a motorcycle person or whatever, see a lot of the people that do YouTube on motorcycle rallies, some of them don't even own a motorcycle. Now there's some that do have motorcycles, but they just don't bring them to the rally.
Hi, Chip.
So, but it's curious that how many people don't even own a motorcycle that actually do motorcycle content, which is really funny to me.
Well, because a lot of people will still like new people that get on or whatever, and they'll ask him, they're like, do you even have a bike? And he's like, obviously you haven't been watching us very long. Yeah.
Well, I don't ride it all the time. And here we could have had some weekends that we could have went out doing some riding, but we don't. There's always something kind of going on. And by the time the end of the day comes, I'm like, oh crap, we could have got Oatman out here and stuff like that. I would have liked to done a ride. If we were here the next couple of weeks, I would be. I want to get some videos and show you some of the stuff. That's why we're thinking next year. Of course, we'll do Sturgis and probably do Arizona Bike Week again next year. The other rallies, I don't know. We might do next year, the Lake of the Ozarks and Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue together again. They're now kind of getting them back to where they're
Back to back.
Yeah, they're getting close to each other, so we could drag the trailer there to them.
We have a place to stay at Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah. So we'll see how that all works out. But then I want to do more riding. We would,
I want a sidecar.
Get a dog.
And then I can do my own little thing. I can do my Tam Time. Has anybody watched Tam Time? Done too. I was gonna do one packing, and by the time
she films herself and everything. I don't do anything to it. All I did was
he puts a little bit of music to it sometimes.
I download it and put it in the computer, and I upload it to our members page. And so I decided to do that because she doesn't have time to put videos out all the time. So that's what I said. I said, right now we're even doing it on the lowest one, whatever the $3 or $5, whatever it is, you can see them for $5. You could see both of them at one time. And
I was trying to do one a week, but it's like one every other week. But because I would thought today, after I was almost all done, I was like, I should have filmed myself packing everything, what we take to Daytona when we fly. But I wasn't going to unpack everything and put it all back in there. I didn't do it. Maybe I'll do one while we're in Daytona.
You could do it unpacking.
I got all the dirty clothes.
Well, no, but
that's what I needed to put in there, a bag to put our dirty clothes in, because I packed stuff to do the laundry with. So
that are just sheets.
I just brought my sheets.
Solvable.
Yeah, the ones you just throw. They're just like sheets of detergent. They're not like you have to pour in. Because they say that's all water anyway. So anyway, they say they're getting snow up there in the east. So Neil says, call your airport.
We're going to be like 75 degrees tomorrow.
I know.
Be a little cooler in Vegas. Vegas is about 10 degrees cooler than we're supposed to be. By Wednesday here, we're going to be in the 80s. By Saturday here, it's going to be 90.
I'm going to miss my 90s.
It always ends up being the last couple of years we've been doing Daytona. It's always been warmer here than it was there. Now, this weekend, they did have some warm weather. I think Saturday, yesterday, I think it was like in the 80s yesterday. A nice day. But see, they've got the humidity too, so it makes it a little more. But here, Phoenix today was up to 88 in Phoenix. So the heat's kind of coming up from the bottom. It hasn't hit us. Yuma and Phoenix and all that, Tucson, they were all starting to get warm today. Won't get it. But we had wind today. We had steam on our kind of worse than trailer, but.
No, and he told me it was freezing cold outside. So I wore my big old heavy coat, and it was like, ooh, it's a little too much for this
I
coat.
stood on the patio and cut my fingernails. I wasn't in the sun. Here, if we get in the sun,
it's nice.
It gets you warm really quick. I don't know why. I guess because the humidity is not there. Humidity must affect the heat when it comes down. It's like in Daytona, it doesn't. You're standing in the sun, it doesn't seem that hot. It's hot because you're sweaty hot, but not the heat.
But the weird thing is, when the humidity's high and it's only like in the 70s or 80s, but you get on the bike, it's like, oh, this feels nice. So I don't know. It's weird. I don't kind of get it. But yeah, since we got the new Apple phone, I film everything on the Apple phone and I edit it all and I put in what I want to take out and keep in what I want to keep in and do all that. So yeah, it's a little easy. It's iMovie. I think that's what it's called. iMovie, I think is what I'm using. It's something. I wanted to do something, and it said I had to go to that CapCut, but I don't know. You did it. I guess I was trying to put music in, and he just put a little bit of music in. Because I guess when I went to the grocery store and it was kind of boring, I was like, needs a little something back there behind it. Oh yeah, my fast thing when I was folding clothes and working out. I don't know. I think it's funny.
I get a lot of comments on it. She only got like 1 or 2 comments on them, and that was it.
Oh, good night.
14 people the other day, and other video, I think.
Woohoo! 21 in Illinois.
There's no noise.
Oh, looky there. Art's on. A cool cat. Froze my getting off the other night off the bike.
Did you get your bike fixed? And are you going to go to Arizona Bike Week? We're going to get there on Friday before.
Cold.
So we're there from Friday for 3 days. We're by Cave Creek. For Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, we go back over to Scottsdale. We'll be there at the campground there.
Aloha.
Westworld. We'll be there for the rest of the time.
Let us know. Rick's going. Rick will be at Arizona Bike Week. I guess we'll be 3 days with him there. I can't remember what day he said he was getting there. It's dropping in Alaska, 9 degrees. What is it here? It is officially 67.
Oh, it's freezing. He thinks it's freezing.
So I said I'm going to miss my 90-degree weather. So by the time we get home, it'll probably be.
Seen Sioux Falls the other day was 70 in Sturgis. So I said it's a weather.
Oh, there's my Lisa. She's
if it
on.
didn't snow and it didn't get cold, we'd be living in Sturgis. But pass on the cold and
Yep, I
done that,
did.
been there, done that.
I got my big, heavy, furry. What do you call it? Hoodie. It's all lined like with whatever that is.
Looks like sheep, but it's not.
Yeah. So I got
cheap
that. That's
imitation.
my heavy coat, and then I got a just a regular hoodie to put underneath it if I need something, but not too much. So there we go. So Lisa's the one I called for her birthday. Was her birthday, and then when we get down there, Daytona Dave's birthday is like the 4th. Yeah, something like that. Better get your sweater on, Bob and Tam. I know.
You had to turn the heat on last. We haven't had the heat on. I couldn't tell you when.
In years.
Well, not.
That would
last
be
year.
excellent. Yep. All right. Now you've made your 2 hours.
Came on.
I
What's going
know.
on?
She can
didn't get to hear
rewatch
this-
it.
didn't get
She
to hear
just
the
wanted to
schedule.
say hi.
She didn't get to see the schedule.
She'll know it. She'll be right there with me
Is she getting there Friday?
Friday. So
Did you get packed yet?
I don't know. She was doing all that stuff on her birthday. She took off to work at home. So anyway.
So if you're going in, let us know. Email us. We'll pass along phone numbers. We can meet up with you. Join us in any of the places we go eat at. You watched the video yesterday morning, show some of the cool places that we eat at. We'll be doing the fried chicken. Might do another live from Twin Peaks. They've always been a really good group up there. We get a bunch of tables we can get reserved there. That's kind of cool. If we all get there kind of at the same time. And then what else?
I'm not packed. I'm working too much.
Get Joe to do it. What's he doing? He gets off work.
He's working 2 jobs
I thought he
too.
only had one job.
Oh, he's working 2. She got him another one.
Put him to work.
Yep.
And so, just throw a bunch of clothes in the side bags and off you go. You can always buy it when you get down there.
She says she's taking everything, the rain gear and the cold stuff and the hot stuff and the chaps and the jeans and the shirts. And
you guys get up early in the morning. It'd be a little cool in the morning getting there. Leave early Friday morning. It's going to start warming up. I mean, it'll be in the 50s, but I mean, that's cold if you're doing 80 miles an hour down the highway.
Yep. You need to bundle Joe up. Keep him warm.
Having him ride on the back of her bike. I even get him a sidecar.
There you go. Journey is coming to Sturgis. Yep.
And it's actually going to be their farewell tour, I found out. There was talk that Steve Perry might come, but Steve Perry can't do it anymore. Steve Perry got a deeper voice now. He cannot sing the songs. I knew he wasn't. Then he wrote a letter. There was a rumor that he might join them. Well, I'm on his Facebook, and he wrote a letter stating that that's just a rumor. He had no their final tour. So it's kind of cool. So that's kind of neat that coming to Sturgis and it'll be their final tour. Which it's like Cher. Cher's been doing it since when last time you seen Cher, 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, and that was her final tour then, and that was when we first moved out to California. So probably 2002, 2003, and that was the final tour. The last time you'll ever get to see Cher. Yep, and it was a great concert, and we watched the Legends thing from Vegas. Oh my gosh, the girl that plays Cher, it was on YouTube. Oh my gosh, looked and sounded just like her. I kept watching her and looking at her face, her cheekbones and her nose and her mouth, everything looked just like her. It wasn't Cassidy didn't change her sex. It could have been her. Hey, don't you two ever get tired of being so awesome? That's Mr. Skulls. I think he's the guy that's got all the skull rings, like one on each finger. I think that's him, Mr. Skull. I got a picture of us with him in Sturgis. We see him all the time
bike.
That's Johnny Chrome. I don't think it's the
Oh,
same guy. I mean, his bike might be chromed out, but safe travels, Bob and Tam. See you in Daytona. Good night. Okay, that's Don Mason. Lisa is either laughing or smiley faces. I can't tell which. You're too little. They're like this
computer's too
big.
far away.
Yep.
You couldn't use the my camera's messing up on here, and I thought it was a bad camera. I bought another camera, and then it started flickering the other day. So we're now using the camera on the computer instead of using the camera that I buy.
The webcam.
Yeah. Oh,
I
still
think
using the microphone. So
Kiss had about 10 final tours. A lot of people do that. Somebody
it's all
else.
about money.
Was it Kenny Rogers? I don't know. A lot of them do it. Yeah. I've heard that this is the end for Journey. Some Sturgis summers. It's all over. Last hurrah. That's what we said. That's what we're talking about. But I
Well, see,
wouldn't
what's really funny
wouldn't count on
about all this is probably 6 months ago, after Sturgis, I found this really good foreign, I don't know if they come from Australia or where they come from, but it's a Journey tribute band that comes out. And when I listen to them, it's like, which we know a lot of Journey tribute bands. This was looked like him, everything. It was looked like Steve Perry. It was really good. Well, I sent it to Michael at the Full Throttle and said, hey, maybe this might be something you guys might want to get for like Friday or Saturday the last weekend. They sometimes have tribute bands out in the bar and stuff. Well, then it was really funny when he signed the real Journey. If he took the idea of me telling him about Journey, it'd be something to think about for Sturgis, that he went after the real Journey. So I don't know if I had anything to do with it or not, but if I put it in his head. But I heard this band and I heard it on YouTube. I listened to them a couple of different songs they had, and I'm like, they're really good. No idea what they charge. Sometimes when we've talked to some of the bars and stuff, they say sometimes these tribute bands will charge as much as the real band charges.
Yep.
But the problem with the real band, sometimes you have to pay for a lot more stuff. You know, they want certain kind of food. They want a hotel. They need a limousine that's going to bring them from the hotel to where they're playing at and all. They have all this other stuff that they want. And that ends up being sometimes as much as it costs to bring them in. So, because some people like Kid Rock and stuff can be as much as $300,000 to bring them in show. And so when people always say that, well, I don't understand why they don't have headliners. But you just think of that. Let's say you brought Kid Rock to the Iron Horse and it charged them, let's say it's only $200,000. How much do you think they need to charge you now? Because it's not going to be a free concert. How much do you think they're going to charge to get in to see that be Kid Rock?
And let's say you can only put 1,000 people in there. That would be pushing it. So they would have to charge you what, $200 a ticket? It made $200,000.
Break even there. Then you haven't made any money. So typically, what I always tell people, that's what's happened with a lot of like Panama City and some of these other rallies that have tried to get big bands in. You have to, which is what we always say, you have to have sponsors. It's like the Buffalo Chip. They have Progressive and they have the other people. Those are the people that pay the majority of the money for these bands. They're taking that money and they're paying the bands with it.
Good night, Art.
So that's what that's all about. So when you start looking at this, it just drives me crazy to that. Oh, I'm not going to church. They don't, Daytona's like that. Why don't they have any headliners? Well, I guess back in the day, I don't know. I seen that Styx played there and some other ones like that. But I mean, Styx hasn't been a headliner for
the 70s.
And so there's a lot of those bands that were coming out. It's like 38 Special. When was the last time 38 Special
was on tour?
Yeah, that filled an auditorium. Filled a 50,000 seat auditorium. But
hey, Hendra.
It was that's a band we've never seen. It was 38 Special. A lot of bands we've seen, Foreigner and a bunch of different bands like that. Kiss,
Bye, Rod.
A lot of different bands we've seen, and but I don't go to a motorcycle rally to see a concert. And I can't believe there's people that crab about that. That I'm waiting for the Buffalo Chip to announce a really big name or whatever. I think they were supposed to, weren't they? Oh, they announced it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
they're there every year.
I'm figuring they're going to get Kid Rock, and we're waiting to hear about that. We haven't heard. And Jelly Roll was a possibility, but Jelly Roll's kind of like weird right now. He's kind of like not booking some stuff. So it's those are two that I thought the Chip would probably end up with, which still might announce them. But it's like, if you're waiting, now it's $500 or something probably to get a camping pass. It's still that cheap. And if you would have bought it originally, you would have got it for like 275 or 295, whatever the week was. And it's like, why would you have, I don't know. I just can't ever figure out why you would come to a motorcycle rally just because there's a band playing. If you're a motorcycle person, like I don't know. See, nowadays, I people always say, "Well, I want a headliner. I want a headliner." Well, some of these bands, I wouldn't call them headliners. They're a lot of them are. You can tell they're, which is what I've always said. You can't get somebody that's a really top star right now unless they're a newbie. Like they got that country girl.
Lainey Wilson.
They got her because she's new. She hasn't signed on with somebody yet. But see, what ends up happening is Ticketmaster and
Live Nation.
Live Nation are now owned by the same company. They are taking these artists now and they're tying them up, saying, we will book your concerts for you and give you
X amount of dollars.
And we sell the tickets. We book the hall, we book everything. We're getting the money and we pay you. So for the Buffalo Chip or the Iron Horse or whoever it might be, Laconia, whatever, they have to hire Ticketmaster to get those bands because they sign them on a exclusive interview contract that says you can only play when we sell the tickets. So you can't go to the Buffalo Chip and say they're going to sell the tickets
because you don't buy a ticket. The concerts are free. Yeah. You have to buy a camping pass.
But even at that, but it's. I know people always keep saying that. I want a headliner. Well, who would you consider today to be a headliner? There are all these people. I see all this stuff on here. They're saying, I want to see this guy, or I want to see that guy, I want to see that guy. Well, they're not headliners. Headliners are somebody that's going to fill 50 to 100,000 seat concert. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know who would be hot. Right? But I mean,
like Chris Stapleton and Luke Combs, and those are the country people. I don't know any rock and roll people. I don't listen to that anymore.
Rock and roll people. But I was gonna say, it's whoever it might be is, like I say, everybody's real hot on what's that moron that did the Super Bowl?
Psycho Bunny or whatever his name is.
Guy is called. Well, he could come to Sturgis, or he could come to the Iron Horse. With that, he's a big headliner now. He's filling places up. #1 songs. Is that what you want? I don't know, but I mean, it's. I don't know. We've seen a lot of concerts in our life. We've seen last 20 years. We've probably seen really good people. I always write it down because I figured one of these days I'll get all the people. But I mean, it's even like we've been to Jimmy Buffett concerts when he was alive. We've been to about a half a dozen of those over the years, and we've seen Chicago. We've seen Aerosmith. We've seen George Thorogood.
George Michael Montgomery and
seen
Garth Brooks.
Judds. We've seen another one. That's why I said we always
Bob Seger.
Yeah, we've seen Bob Seger. But yeah, we've seen a lot of concerts. But I mean, a lot of those people always seen Fergie.
Oh yeah, she's got a potty mouth. She kept saying, I keep forgetting I'm at the county fair. I'm not supposed to cuss. And she'd blah, 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 and drop the F-bomb.
The Beach Boys, the 40th anniversary. They were a really good show. They were on the front row. John Stamos was in it.
Right in the center.
You never would have ever seen another Beach Boy concert. That was the best one when they did their 50th anniversary party. You've seen it on TV. They sucked. The concert we seen, it was really good. They were great. Had front row seat. Got off ticket.
Oh, we went and seen Who Sings Our Song? All in My World. Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, we've seen a lot.
I like that concert because of the band. I didn't like the concert because of the people we were sitting around.
Oh, we've seen ELO.
Smoking pot.
Seen ELO.
Yep.
That up in Hollywood Bowl. And so yeah, we've seen Charlie Daniels a bunch of times. We've seen Travis Tritt a bunch of times. We've seen Charlie Daniels, not Charlie Daniels. Buddy you were always in love with.
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers, till he went to 3 concerts. And exactly the same joke, same everything. After that, she's like, I never want to go back.
And I mean, it was like in a 5-year span. It wasn't like we went within months of each other. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
But I mean, we used to go to
Burst my bubble.
We used to go. Our very first concert I took her to.
Alice Cooper.
Back when we were 17. We've seen REO Speedwagon. We've seen Jefferson Starship. We just seen them last year at the Churches.
Oh, yeah.
Knuckle.
That
a
was
great
good.
concert.
It was
great
really
concert.
good.
Free, and it was great. Good seats. Got there early. Set them on the balcony, and it's really good. They even met you afterwards. You could talk to them.
We
and stuff
actually
like
got
that.
to sit with some subscribers. They're the ones that got us to sit.
Yeah, they
with
held their
them.
seats.
They gave she's sit at their seat.
Pretty cool. But I mean, we've been to a bunch of concerts, but I mean, I don't know. You know, we've never seen the Rolling Stones, or we never. I mean, we've seen a lot of bands. Like I don't. Oh, we've seen the group, three guys. Oh, we.
That was not a good concert. ZZ Top.
Oh, ZZ Top. You don't like ZZ.
Well, BTO was the same way. They announce them, they come out on stage, they played their 12 songs, whatever they played, and walked off. Didn't say, hello, we're BTO, I'm glad to be here, nothing. Played their songs and walked off.
You could have listened to a CD and heard the same thing.
I was not impressed at all.
I've seen ZZ Top a long time ago in Fontana at the all that rock.
That Love Ride.
Yeah, Love Ride. That's coming back that again here, I think.
Yeah. Nope.
What else you got? Seen Ozzy, Kid
No.
Rock, Scorpions, Aerosmith.
We've seen Kid Rock. We've seen what's his name? Hot Legs. Rod Stewart. Keith, Toby Keith. I never saw the Stones.
Really, the one person I would have liked to have seen that I never got to see, would have had done when I was really young, which would have been Elvis. I would have really, probably because I said my mic cutting out, probably sitting back too. And but that's the only person I never got. I wish today that I would have seen. I'm really glad we got to see Jimmy Buffett. You know, we used to have in California, they used to go to the Irvine complex. And at noon, people were already in the parking lot. And it was the best party I have ever gone to, a pre-party before a concert. It was people giving away free drinks, girls had
coconut tops
coconut
on.
boobs on, coconut bras on and stuff, and grass skirts. And everybody was there having a great time. It was fun. It was people giving you free drinks, free food. It was just the best time ever. And we did 2 years there. And then we did once in Las Vegas, and it sucked because they had a pre-party was at the Flamingo, and it was stupid as hell.
Yeah. And
then we seen them someplace else after that. And so, yeah, we were never parrot heads, but
no,
we did that. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. But I mean, when we go to a concert, I like to get within about the first 6 to dozen seats. I like to get close, because once you sit close, you never want to sit far away again, because you see so much stuff. All right, let's see what else we got here. The ads tonight are getting tired of, and I had 5 minutes. Sorry, Neil. The ads are popping up.
I didn't have mine.
Ad merchandise is too expensive.
Bob Dylan. Have we ever been to Bob Dylan? Maybe.
Oh no, never did Bob Dylan.
He doesn't really like Bob Dylan. Billy Joel. We saw Billy Joel.
Adam, I think what he's doing right now is he's doing that free, giving away that motorcycle. If you buy stuff, you get so many entries into it, and I think that's probably why he's selling stuff.
He's got new beanies and shirts and stuff.
I never looked at any of his prices of stuff. I don't know what he's selling. I called him the other day, he never called me back. I've been to Graceland. We've been to Graceland. Creeps away.
Swimming with his
camera. See, I tell him that all the time. And excellent, Bob.
Thanks, Mr. Skulls.
Adam is only looking around. Yeah, which I told him that before. I said, do you really want to be that guy that the only reason people come to you is to watch you chase girls around and stuff? And he's like, yeah, it's people to watch. I just don't want to be that guy. I don't know. I'd rather have people that want to watch us because who we are and what we do versus us doing something like that. No, I don't want to be that we just chase all these girls around the whole time. You know, we don't mind talking to some of the bartenders and stuff and getting them on the channel and telling you where they're at. And you can have a drink with them or whatever, things like that. But I don't know. I'm surprised he hasn't got by somebody. Just, you know, I don't know. Which I've been there talking to him one time and he runs away. I'm like,
Yeah, right in the middle of, oh, gotta go. And he runs off.
Sometimes
And
you don't even say nothing. He just leaves. But I mean, that's people like it. People watch it. He's got a good viewership. He's got a lot of good views. He gets a good crowd to watch his channel. He's getting, 4,000 or 5,000 views almost on every video. Oh, that's kind of cool. He
what?
lives 5 miles away from
Oh,
Graceland.
wow.
In South Haven, Mississippi. And so I laugh out loud. I like him. And he is a good guy. Like I say, I called him the other day because we had somebody, Speeds was going to the track and they wanted to know where you could ship oil and stuff too. And I said, I know Amsoil. Adam has stuff. So I texted him. He never did call me back. So I don't know if he got a different phone. I don't know what happened. They said they were going to try to call somebody too. And I said, well, let me call Adam real quick. And he never called me back.
Busy. They got their own little complex going on there. This is their downtime, their family time. So
Well,
they
I seen a video pop up today. He's getting his truck all loaded up. He got that big trailer and they're loading. Guess they got some kind of cabinet got delivered. Well, probably didn't get. Probably getting ready to already head out. I want to get out before they get any. Carolina.
North Carolina. Sometimes they get a little bit of
some
snow.
That bad weather too. All right, you can go ahead and wrap her.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. We appreciate all you guys. Love all you guys. Hope to see you all in Daytona or somewhere this year at one of the rallies. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share us with your family and friends. Give us a big thumbs up. Ring that bell for notification and support our sponsors, please. That's the ones that get us to these places to get you this great information. So we'll see all you on the next video. And be safe and be careful if you're coming down to Daytona.
Wherever you're coming, travel safe, no matter what you're doing, pulling a trailer or flying in like we are, or riding your bike down, or however you're getting there. Make sure you take care, take extra time. Remember, it doesn't do any good if you don't make it. Get down there in one piece and then get back home in the same piece you came into. And we all
don't want to send you back home in pieces.
No. I'm going to head out. Got to finish up some stuff. Bye all.
There you go, Neil.
It's early for Neil.
Yep. Night, everyone.
Neil's only what time is it? 8, 7, 6. It's only 6:15 for Neil. Still got to go eat dinner.
Yep.
Later, Gator.
Yep.
Night. Good night. With that, we're going to leave you, and we'll see you down the road. Bye. Bye. Wave goodbye.